I'm ready. Seems like Kevin's ready.
Yes, sir.
So,
Kev, I'm sensing that you may be a fan of Cinderella.
I'm telling you what, were you not?
No, I wasn't. But
Wow.
I'll say this right now. I didn't dislike her, though.
All right.
Welcome to the Magic of Animation, where we explore the enchanting world of Disney, from the classics we grew up with to the latest releases. We'll take a deep dive into the artistry, storytelling, the unforgettable characters, and the pure magic that makes these movies timeless. So whether you're a lifelong Disney fan or new to the magic, sit back, relax, and join us as we embark on our journey through the wonderful, magical world of animation. Welcome, dear listeners. My name is Joey, and I am your very own Prince Charming. I am joined by the dashing Dequan.
Hello.
The knightly Kevin.
Hey there.
And the marvelous Mike.
Hello.
In today's episode, we are talking about probably the most well-known, timeless, and the greatest fairy tale of all time, Cinderella. So how are you boys doing?
I'm doing pretty all right.
That's good.
Fabulous.
That's good stuff.
I'm good.
Oh, man. 3 for 3. I'll make it 4 for 4. I'm doing good, too.
Oh, good to hear.
And we'll jump into Pooh's 100-acre check-in. I don't know why I struggle with the word acre. But what did you do this past week, Dequan?
I'll be honest, this past week I didn't really do much. Well, yeah, I didn't do much, honestly. I pretty much just worked, and that was about it, really. So,
Yeah.
not too much happened.
Kevin.
I'm right there on the same page. Not too much. Went and seen some fireworks in Bay City over the weekend, and
That's a
spent
long
some time
drive
doing
for-
some shopping.
for
Oh man,
fireworks.
but the Bay City Fire, it's worth it though. They put on a great show.
All right.
And we did two birds, one stone kind of thing. We went shopping around Frankenmuth.
Oh, okay. Great Lakes Crossing or Frankenmuth?
Frankenmuth.
Not Great Lakes Crossing. What am I talking about? Birch Run.
Oh, yep. Nope. Frankenmuth.
Because they're right next to each other.
Yeah.
Mike.
Work on my room / setup, my computer setup, and then Final Fantasy. That's been my week.
Beautiful. My setup is a disaster. I don't know. I don't even know how I can make it better. There's just so much junk on my desk. I need a bigger desk. That's probably what. Or I need to get rid of a bunch of junk. That's probably the most logical way to
I've
do
been
it.
watching a crap ton of setup videos to get ideas, getting new organization containers, and just trying to resort things around to make things work. Finally got my computer off the floor. My computer's been on the floor for so long, which is not good at all. But now it's finally off the floor.
Why is it not good to be on the floor?
It's easier to collect dust. It can easily short circuit the power supply because with it being on carpet, if you touch it in any way around the power supply or anything, it can fry it.
Okay.
Didn't know that.
I had
Mine's
mine
not
on my
fully-
floor the entire time I lived with my parents, so...
Well, do you have
Whoa.
it's dangerous with carpet.
Yep, it was carpeted.
Yep.
Likewise. Likewise.
I'm in danger.
Yeah, me too. Maybe I should probably put like a board of wood under it, huh?
Actually, yeah, a lot of people do that. They also put like plastic cupboard lids or something underneath
I don't
it
like
just to give it that
plastic. That's
disconnect. No, because the plastic isn't going to do anything. The problem is with carpet is it conducts static. So if you walk by it or anything like that, it's going to travel from basically the carpet to the computer's power supply. Well, with the plastic, it kind of disconnects it a bit from it, so you don't have to worry too much.
Wonderful.
It's like grounding yourself. It's like why when you work on building a computer as well, you're not supposed to be on carpet as well. You're either supposed to be on like like wood, or I can't even think what the other type of floor materials would be that aren't carpet, or you need to have something that takes away the static that you conduct being on carpet.
I'll tell you what,
know?
I hate being grounded though. It's been years, but I don't know.
This guy.
Dick's with you.
Oh no.
Dramatic experiences.
Oh no.
Well, my week was pretty much the first half of it was avoiding the poisonous air, so just stayed inside the whole time.
Fair, smart.
Makes your lungs stronger. It's all good.
And then we booked a trip for Labor Day weekend to go up north, and then promptly canceled the trip because we felt that $1,000 for 2 nights was a bit ridiculous. And then
Golly, where were you going?
nowhere special. I don't understand why everything was so expensive, because we thought about going elsewhere, and even Traverse City was even more expensive, and Mackinac Island was like $800 a night. So
Yep.
it's ridiculous. So then I was looking into going to Vegas for my dad's 60th birthday, because he's having a 60th birthday bash in Vegas. So me and my sister were thinking about splitting a room, and that was going to be $900 for 3 nights. So I was like, well, I'm not going there either. And then I had Portillo's today, and I have a chocolate shake that I'm drinking while we record this, so it's a pretty good night.
Yeah,
Yes.
that cost him $1,000 a night.
Oh, and my wife did not have today off, and we're recording this day before 4th of July, so I had today off, and she did not, so I had some one-on-one time with the baby today. Watched Cinderella, played with some blocks, took a very long nap. Not me, him. I don't like naps.
What?
Yeah. But that was my week.
Okay.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. We can jump right into Dory's Dive into Memories. Dequan, what are your memories of Cinderella?
Honestly, everything.
Everything.
I actually remember everything of Cinderella. But the thing that sticks with me the most from Cinderella is probably the same thing that sticks with everybody else. Bibbidi bobbidi boo.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know that's obviously memories, but when I'm talking about memories, I'm talking about like memories of watching it with your family, or certain things like going to a Cinderella themed birthday. And the reason I haven't been able to give any examples like that because I haven't remembered anything up to this point.
Okay, I got you. So memories of this outside of just the song being engraved in my skull.
Right.
I have watched a different Cinderella movie at the time, and then when I watched the original one, I was confused. So I would say that would be like a very fond memory of watching a completely different take of Cinderella. So that was it's funny because from that Cinderella there was a song called Impossible, and I forgot how the song exactly goes, but she quite literally sings how it's impossible for those things to happen that the fairy godmother did. I'll find the movie and I'll send it to you guys.
That's great.
Was it live action by any chance?
It was definitely live action.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
It's cool.
I'm pretty sure you do. That's the funniest part about it.
Is it more modern? Like done in a modern setting?
I don't know.
Oh, well, there's a billion of those.
Really, it's like a mix of the two.
Okay. I'll wait to see if I know.
How about you, Kevin? What's your memories of this movie?
Nothing too crazy. I mean, I just remember watching it several times as a kid, sitting down, watching it as a family. You know, watching it on, it's one of the movies that my stepdad had on Laserdisc. And, yeah, that's about it. Nothing specific.
Cool. Mike?
I don't really have any memories like that of this movie. I remember watching it a lot. I remember liking it when I was a kid. And I think I also remember having a hard time closing the VHS plastic case that my grandma had for it. That's about it.
Wasn't it the worst when those got messed up and you couldn't close them anymore?
Just a one dent. That thing gets dented once. It's basically ruined. It's horrible.
God.
Just remember I couldn't close it for the life of me. And it didn't lock either, I don't think.
That would
I
activate
think it was just
my
like
childhood OCD like crazy.
I think it was doing the same to me.
For me, I don't remember much about watching it as a kid other than the Bippity Boppity Boo scene. Because obviously that's of course going to be something you remember, but I don't remember much else. But when my niece was born, for whatever reason, this movie was her favorite, and she watched it all the time. And we watched it all the time. And this was during a time where we had a house fire, so we couldn't live in our house until it got repaired, so we were living in our camper. So I just remember sitting up north in our camper every day watching Cinderella with her, quoting Gus Gus, and she loved it. She had a Cinderella rug in her playroom once we eventually got out of the camper and back into the house. And she loved this movie, so that's my main memory, is just watching it with her. So with that, we can move into Timon and Pumbaa's movie review. And before we get into this, I think you guys are going to notice that, and you have noticed with the previous movies, that I don't like these old movies at all. Pinocchio's okay, but it's definitely different for this one.
I just posted a GIF of the fairy from the movie.
The
I
fairy.
never realized. Yeah, that movie had a.
Oh, is it in
For
Discord?
modern day words, that movie had a lot of diversity.
I don't know how to work Discord. How the heck do I find this? Direct message?
It's
There
in
it is.
general. It's in
No.
general.
General.
Yeah.
General. There it is. Oh, geez, I don't know this movie.
Is that the one you were thinking of, Mike?
I was hoping to see like the cover because
Oh,
I'm
really?
not
I
I'm not
just-
getting it from. I think it is though. I
just
think
really,
it is.
Really like that GIF. Let me find the cover. Go ahead, Joey, as I look for the cover.
So we'll jump right into the storyline and the plot. And I just went on Google and typed in, what is the storyline? Or no, I looked up the synopsis. Is that how you say it?
Synopsis?
Of the movie. And it was, with a wicked stepmother and two jealous stepsisters who keep her enslaved and in rags, Cinderella stands no chance of attending the royal ball thrown by the king to find the prince a wife. When her fairy godmother appears and magically transforms her reality into a dream come true, Cinderella enchants the handsome Prince Charming at the ball, but must face the wrath of her enraged stepmother and sisters when the spell wears off at midnight. Oh, that's Halle Berry, isn't it?
I don't
Bailey,
even know.
not Barry.
I don't even know, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I was so young, bro.
Oh no, she's not that old. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about.
You're fine. You're fine. But Mike is
But I've
that-
seen that cover. I've never seen the
think
movie,
it-
but I've seen that cover.
I think so.
I
It
remember-
seems familiar, but I can't say for certain. I think it is because this does look a lot more modern.
I remember bits and pieces of the movie, but that song "Impossible" lives rent free in my head.
That's cool. And very good audio content for our podcast listeners. So back to storyline and plot. I don't know. I'm lost with Discord. I don't like Discord. It's confusing.
That's pretty cool, but continue.
So with the synopsis, I can jump right into my personal notes. And the scene when the birds and the mice are helping Cinderella get ready for the day that's a really good scene. I like it.
Agreed. I do have to question this though. So like, it's just a natural talent, right? Like it's just, it's built into the genetic code of princesses. They just have like, they're beast tamers, huh?
Well, I mean, that is part of the Disney magic.
Disney magic.
They're beast tamers, like it's a
Mm.
class in an MMO.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I would love to be a Disney princess because then I have like command over like animals and they always help me. It'd be awesome.
I was about to say that they should make a Disney Prince movie, but that's pretty much what Aladdin is.
Yeah, actually.
So,
Wait,
Prince of
yeah.
And the
Thieves.
Lion King.
Yeah.
And
my
Hercules.
gosh.
Just can't wait
oh,
to
and
be king.
Hercules, man, look at me go, not
Oh
knowing
man.
anything.
Oh yeah. Hold on a second.
He went the distance.
He did go the distance.
They're just in a different class of being their own type of kings and princes.
Why isn't Meg a Disney princess?
Because
she ain't nothing special.
Oh. I mean, it is kind of weird because, I mean, this is a little off topic. I was just gonna say because Alice is considered a princess, but Meg isn't.
Well, she isn't though.
Yeah, but she's considered a Disney princess. I think
official Disney princess.
I thought she was considered an actual Disney princess.
I don't.
Not by the movie standards, but by who is a Disney princess.
I don't believe so.
Disney because there's an official list of Disney princesses, and Elsa and Anna are not on that list because they make too much money on their own. Disney doesn't want them to be a part of the Disney princesses.
They get to be in their own category.
So let's look here. We have Tiana, Moana, Mulan, Belle, Pocahontas, Snow White, Cinderella, Rapunzel, Merida, Jasmine, Aurora, and Ariel.
Dang, they did my girl Alice dirty.
Well, I mean, she isn't like royalty, so at least they kept it in the way that it's. Well, Mulan marries into royalty.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think she does.
Right? Wait, is the captain? Is the captain part of a royal family?
He's not royal.
And they don't.
Wait, is she?
No.
What the heck?
Right?
Man. Now it don't make no sense.
And Merida's not even Disney, so it's just all whacked up.
Yeah. What is this nonsense?
We're way off topic here.
Yeah. So back on topic with your the scene with the birds, I want to point something out.
Do it.
She spent all that morning brushing her hair just to then wash her hair and have to rebrush it. Why? Why did you do this?
To be fair, long hair is very difficult to manage, and I don't know what it takes to keep it managed, so I can't comment on whether or not you have to brush it before showering.
You don't.
Maybe you don't.
I don't know really anybody who needs to or has.
See, you don't understand, Mike. When you comb your hair and then you wash it, it's easier to comb it a second time.
Ah.
There's layers to this.
And how much sense does that make? Can you explain that sense to me? Or are you just going to say that's how it is?
Are you a Disney princess?
Maybe you got something in it again. Maybe you put in too much product. Maybe you put in the wrong product.
She
just had soap water dumped on her head and that was it.
Yeah, which
makes wasn't enough.
I don't think Cinderella had product back in whatever year this is supposed to be.
It was just soap and water. And also, that just went all over the floor of her wooden floor.
That was weird. But I'm going to guess that there was a bucket there under her. But that was weird.
It makes sense, though, because soap and water is not very good for your hair. You need products. So, of course, you have to comb it again so it doesn't, get matted and whatnot.
You don't comb it in the morning, then shower, then comb it again. That's a waste of time.
I'll do homework and ask my wife what is the purpose of combing before a shower.
Wait, does she do it?
Hold on. I do it with my beard.
There you go.
Why is that? Can you explain to me why?
I detangle it in the morning, and then it makes it better to shampoo. And then once I get out of the shower, I brush it again.
Now, have you done that without combing your beard and then doing that? Is it easier or is it about the same?
I mean, it's easier.
Okay. It just seems like a waste of time, but you know what? Hey, if it works, it works. Good on that then.
I think what the words you're looking for is you just got schooled, bro.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Bro.
No, it's not getting schooled. It's just talking about it. I'm sitting here thinking about it because I used to have long hair. I can't say that I specifically had done that before, but with my beard, I run a brush through it. Takes maybe a minute, if that, 30 seconds in the morning.
Well, actually, apparently beards get a lot more tangled than hair, according to this guy from my work who now has a big bushy beard. So
His
Yeah.
beard.
I don't know if that
Everyone's
may
hair is
be a
different,
thing.
my guy.
Apparently,
This is
beard
true.
hair gets a lot more like tangled. It's also a lot harder to manage than actual hair, apparently.
It is. I've straightened my beard before.
Oh, I need a picture of that.
That's interesting.
Anyway, it seems weird and it seems like a waste, but if it works, it works. Good on you. Just know you're wasting your time. Don't do it.
I need a picture of your straight beard.
Oh wait, I just remembered. Kingdom Hearts actually gives you the thing to look through Cinderella's room, and I don't remember there ever being anything there for her, like to collect the water from her shower or whatever, the water dump on her head. So she just let that go over the floor. I'm using that as canon.
I'm going to use a little logic and say that maybe a video game developer didn't find it necessary to put a shower bucket on the floor, but
You could have.
but hey, maybe she dumped it all over the floor. You never know.
It had all the sewing stuff. It had sewing stuff underneath the bed too. It had the giant, like, you wouldn't call that a curtain, but that divider thing.
Right.
It had the divider thing in the room, had the table and the mirror, had everything that was used.
All right. Well, I guess it's canon. She dumped it all over the floor.
I'm just poking fun.
So the next
Let
note
her
I
live
had-
her best life.
I mean, I'm down to let her live her best life. It's not me holding her back. I'll tell you that much.
The next note that I have is that this movie is obviously a product of its time, and because today's world will see parents pressuring their kids to get married and have kids as toxic, but that's exactly what the king is doing to Prince Charming.
I mean, he is toxic. I didn't see any good light in him. I saw him as a very toxic person. I was like, this man's weird, and he's weird in a not good way. It made me uncomfortable.
He had some wild expectations too. He wanted a ball. He wanted a ball attended by every eligible woman to be thrown the very same night he came up with the idea.
So hear me out. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I don't think he was that terrible.
I don't think
He was
that
looking
bad.
out for the future of the family's kingdom.
Yeah,
He
and
was
on
ready
top
to
of
kill a
that,
guy if she said no.
and on top of that, he just he just wanted his son to like own up to like responsibility and be responsible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Let's
mean,
just
you got to
win
think
about
about
it
there was arranged marriages back then. You know, at least this
Oh, yeah.
this king, he was like, you know what? I want him to choose who he wants.
Well, that's why I said it's a
Right.
product of its time, because back then,
Yeah.
your parents had the say of, you need to get married and have children. Now, people see it as, I'm not ready to have children, so you can't tell me what to do.
True.
Yeah. We also
I mean-
don't live in a time of kingdoms and anarchies.
Well,
Probably
I mean,
not.
I would say that where we live, we don't, but other areas, I think that those still exist in other
Oh
areas.
yeah. Oh, there's still arranged marriages. There's still, you know, there's families of power that, you know, marry for for different reasons other than just love.
Man, if
Oh, yeah.
I was a person in power, dude, I would just take everyone's sweets. That would be my order.
Like candy.
I will say, I'm happy. It is true the king was just like, yeah, he's going to pick who he wants to marry. But he was also willing to kill a guy if the one person he picked said, if she said no or it didn't work, he's like, you're gonna pay for this. And when he said the
Incentive.
prince is looking to find his love, he said, rubbish. What does love matter? Basically, this man was basically saying it don't matter.
His heart was in the right place. It's just his actions were really poor.
Right. The next note I have is the fairy godmother said, even miracles take a little time, which, if I'm not mistaken, that line is also said by the blue fairy in Pinocchio.
Are you saying that they might be related, or the blue fairy and
The fairies work
godmother?
together. There's like a fairy union.
Oh, watch as it's actually not a fairy union, and that fairy's just like one, like a massive fairy that's able to split themselves into multiple
Well,
forms.
the fairy
Plot
godmother
twist.
is 10,000 times better than the blue fairy, so
Oh,
I don't
absolutely.
buy into that.
Plot twist.
Agree with that.
Fairy godmother is the blue fairy.
Dun, dun, dun!
Oh, but hear
An
me out.
older version, and she's been promoted to fairy godmother.
Also, hear me out, Joey. Think about it. Like, yeah, like the fairy godmother is leagues better than the blue fairy, but think about it. if you take apart a person's personality, you'll get the anger, the happiness, the sadness.
Oh, so you're saying they're split up?
Yeah.
Oh, I
But
gotcha.
what switches them then? Because that one works with anger and sadness and emotions. What does this one play?
Well, this one's just like pure joy,
Yeah.
hope.
I mean, the Blue Fairy, I mean, as much as I think she slacked on her job really hard, she wasn't like, she was pretty happy and joyful. She was like, I'm going to give Geppetto happiness by half bringing his son to life.
The Blue Fairy was very neglectful. That's what she was.
She didn't want to pull that weight.
like the fairy godmother carried through with her plan entirely. The Blue Fairy's like, Jiminy, you got this, right? He's like, I'm gonna try.
But see, at the same time, the Blue Fairy was like, hey, this is forever. This is your forever conscience, right? But then the fairy godmother was like, hey man, I'm helping you out till midnight. Then you're on your own.
She's on the budget.
No, but the fairy godmother
she
gave her the
switched up her thing.
tools to make her life what she wanted it.
I mean, so did the Blue Fairy. Just Pinocchio didn't know better to listen.
See, this is where I
And
went down.
Cinderella, being the eldest of the Disney princesses, knew
True.
better.
That's very true.
See, this is where she's like, I'm gonna switch up how I do things. Before she was like, I'm only gonna half fulfill wishes. Then she's like, okay, you know what? I might have been getting some slack at work about it. The other, the fairies over here be giving me a hard time about. Yeah, the fairy council be giving me a hard time about not pulling my weight. So I'm gonna fulfill a full wish, but only for a certain time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't
Tell you
know how
what.
we jumped to the fan fiction section, but
I think because it just came on the spot, came out of my mind. I'm sorry. I didn't have that
Y'all-
ready. It just happened.
Everybody needs to go watch the show Once Upon a Time, and it'll all make sense.
I should watch that when I'm training or playing video games at night. I should
Honestly,
watch that.
such a great show.
It should be on Hulu, right?
No, Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, well everything on Hulu is on Disney Plus now if you have both. It's weird,
Yep.
but
Oh, sorry. I need to squeeze this in really quick,
Do
really
it.
quick. Okay, so Disney Plus Hulu. We all know that like they're under the same umbrella, right?
yep.
So I have them separately.
Yep.
And they won't let me merge them unless I get rid of one. And I don't want to get rid of one because I want all my history and stuff to transfer over. Why is there not a proper merging system?
Well, I would think that you don't need your history for Disney Plus.
But I like my.
Is there even a history button on Disney Plus?
No, it's just the continue watching.
Yeah, and I like the recommended thing. Like, since you watch this, you recommend this. I love that. It makes me feel like I'm seen.
Well, I think you're just going to need to waste money and have them separate until you get over that hump.
I'm gonna write them, dear Disney.
And because they just did a thing to where if you have the bundle and you have Disney Plus and Hulu, you don't even have to go into Hulu anymore. All of the Hulu stuff will be on Disney Plus.
Oh, I don't know if I like that. That's a little weird.
It is weird, but what are you going to do?
Does it turn green when I
No,
click on the Hulu
no.
stuff? Oh no, never mind. I would pay the extra like $2.
I think it works in the same way that all the categories work. Like when you go to the home of it, how there's Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, the National Geographic.
Yep.
I think it'll just be another tab that says Hulu.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just know that I saw the Flaming Hot movie that it came out on Hulu about Flaming Hot Cheetos. And I was like, wait a second, why is this on Disney Plus? And I looked into it, and that's why.
Ah, okay. But yeah, that's all I wanted to squeeze in. Continue forth, friend.
So at one point, the Duke is explaining to the king on how the king's expectations of the prince doing stuff isn't going to work out. But as he's explaining it, everything is happening with the prince. He's looking
Yeah.
up and then seeing Cinderella and walking to her and falling in love. That was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
But in the same scene, Cinderella is sitting there just looking around like, oh, I wonder where the ball is, when it's right freaking behind her. I hate that scene.
See, I didn't think that was her being lost. I was thinking it was her being like, kind of like awestruck.
That's probably more
Like-
likely, but
Anxiety.
Feeling
Wait,
out of place. She
anxiety?
doesn't know. Like, she knows where the crowd is. She knows where the people are, but she doesn't know where she should be or should go. I mean, she didn't even know she was dancing with the prince the whole evening.
I like that. I like that thought process there.
That's a weird. That just reminded me. There's 2 points that I found very weird throughout this. Was that one because she says, "I'm looking for the prince," and then afterwards completely keeps calling him the prince before he can even say, "I'm the prince," because the only thing he says is, "What, you don't know?" That's it.
does she?
So
call
it
him
never
the prince?
fully gets cleared up.
She doesn't call him the prince because she just tells him she's looking for the prince.
And then he tries
Yeah,
to
she says that
explain
when
it,
she's
and she runs
leaving.
away.
It's afterwards when she's home. She starts calling him the prince. He never told her he was the prince.
Yeah.
So she
Well,
never truly got that information. So I was like, wait, so did she know or did she not know?
No,
Did she
because
know but was just
then-
making up stuff to get out of there? Or
Then
did
a
she
letter
know the whole time?
comes saying that the prince is looking for the person she danced with and lost a slipper, and she knows she lost a slipper, so then she realized who she was dancing with was the prince.
Then
Yep.
she did that really weird blinking scene.
Yeah, I have a note on that where I said she was lost in love when she found out the prince was looking for her.
I don't know. That didn't convey it very well to me. That I was like, oh, that made me put 2 and 2 together. That made it be like, look at that. I took that like she knew the whole time. It was just being weird about it because she's trying to get out of there, panicking. The other thing I thought was weird was the prince in the youngest photo of him was blonde, and then suddenly he just has black hair. I was like,
Well,
I did not
some
notice
people are blonde when they're kids, and then they grow up to have darker hair.
Me.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
that. Really? I also need a picture of that too. So straight beard and blonde Kevin.
Because when
yeah,
I was a
but
kid,
blonde to straight black?
because no one in my family is blonde. So when I was a kid, I was told that I was going to grow up and have dark hair. So I was like, oh, sweet, I'm going to have brown or black hair when I'm older. I don't know why I didn't like my blonde hair as a kid, because I love that I'm blonde now. But
The problem is that's a
It never
complete opposite of blonde to like jet black.
it happens, man.
That's a
Disney
drastic. That's a drastic
Yeah,
jump
bro,
that I
he
don't
had-
fully believe.
He
Could
had
be
that
true.
guy.
I don't fully believe that though.
Mike's
Yeah,
been
from
challenging
that blonde
facts
to
all day
that jet
today.
black.
What happened?
I said Mike's been challenging facts all day today.
Because
That's
stuff
it.
doesn't make sense. It's
He
weird.
had that Disney magic. It's in hair dye.
I'm not buying this no more.
It's
That
in
Disney
hair dye.
magic and leave the exit door.
He'll be back.
But speaking when you said about the faces, that remind me, dude. It freaked me out. So when they get Gus, right? She gets Gus, and Jack's explaining everything. He's pointing, and he points to Cinderella. Why was her face freaked me out from the cage? It's like, oh god, what's with that face? It was freaky to me. I don't know why. It was very it was scary face. Gave me a little bit of a jolt there. I wasn't expecting it.
I'm just gonna move on because I wasn't listening completely, so I don't know what you guys were just talking about. Sorry.
Face.
Lady Tremaine locked her in her room and was probably planning on leaving her up there, and her eyes glowed Disney villain green.
Wait, that's a thing?
Yeah. If you look at most villains in Disney movies, there is something green about them. Like Scar, his flames are green whenever he's around fire.
Wait, there's something, you're saying something green in general.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying just the eyes.
No.
Okay.
And then Maleficent's fire when she turns into a dragon is green, I believe.
Wait, do you,
You know
think
they're
that's
voiced by
why
the same voice actress.
Who?
Maleficent and the evil stepmother,
Huh. How about that?
Lady Tremaine.
I skipped over stats from Baymax. Now that you mention that. So let's do that real quick. Stats from Baymax. Cinderella was released by Disney Animation on February 15th in 1950. It's based on Cinderella by Charles Proulet. It was directed by the legendary Wilfred Jackson and produced by Walt Disney. It had a budget of $2.9 million. It made $7.8 million originally, but has made $263 million in lifetime sales. It has a 97 tomato score and an audience score of 80.
That seems pretty right. That seems all right.
Yeah. All right, so we can go back to that now. That's completely my fault. Speaking of forgetting things, I forgot about the fan fiction section of the last episode. And I was going to say that my theory was Brahm was the Headless Horseman. And I was really excited to talk about that. But I'm dumb, so I didn't talk about it.
It happens to the best of us.
Back to the storyline. The plot point of the sisters trying to get their feet in the shoes is always hilarious. All the animals fighting Lucifer was amazing. All of them banding together to fight back against him. And did Lucifer die?
Nah. Cats always land on their feet.
It didn't look like he was going to.
Nah, that's what they do.
He was belly up the whole time.
They like to trick you.
And I never noticed this part before, but I absolutely loved the scene when Cinderella's slipper falls off her foot at their wedding at the end of the movie.
You said you like it?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a great type callback.
I wonder, and what if it's the same? Because I think there's a thing that says like one of your feet is not the exact same size, like it's slightly off, not enough that you need different size shoes, but like it's slightly different. They're not they're not like exactly the same. So I wonder if that might be why. Because I noticed that with like my shoes sometimes. I think it's my right foot is a little bit harder to take the shoe off than my left foot, or it might be vice versa. One just can easily slide off when I untie my laces. I'm like, cool, and the other one's like I gotta kind of put a little bit of force to get it off my heel. Just something that came to mind.
I had another thing that I thought was a note for there, but it might be a note somewhere else. But I'll just talk about it. So a lot of people complain because the fairy godmother says that everything's supposed to disappear at midnight, but why does her shoes stay? And I'm like, I think that's just the fairy godmother giving her a chance.
I always thought well, it may be from a different Cinderella movie, but I always thought that everything only reverts back that's on her.
Well, she loses her dress.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But she has her second shoe. That never goes away.
That I didn't understand. That one didn't make sense to me. I was confused by that one.
But I always just chalked it up to the fairy godmother giving her a chance. Because
that would be
if the shoes disappeared, her life stays the same.
You know, I agree with you on that actually, because when she put the shoe back on, you would think the shoe would revert back to its regular state, but it stayed the glass slipper.
Yeah.
So I like that idea.
I wonder if it's because technically, well, no, never mind. Wait, no, she was barefoot. I think maybe because the shoes were technically made from pure magic of like, just kind of created out of thin air instead of something being changed to it. I wonder if that could maybe be a thing.
I didn't think about that either.
She realized at the end of the night, like she had the one left and it was like sparkling even after everything else changed back. And she like looked up and like thanked her or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. It's like a souvenir.
So do you guys have anything else for storyline / plot, or can we move to characters?
I did have one thing I found kind of funny.
Let's hear it.
So the fairy godmother, right? So they have a horse, they have a dog, and they have the 4 mice.
Uh-huh.
She's like, okay, I'm going to turn the 4 mice into horses, and I'm going to turn the horse into a human. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I was like, I was expecting, I thought I remembered the carriage driver and the dude who opens the door being Jacques. Wait, is it Jacques or just
Jacques and Gus?
Yeah, Jacques. Okay, I fixed the two up. Jacques and Gus. I swear I remember it being those two. So when she's like, I'm turning the mice into the horses, then the horse could become human. I'm like, wait, why is that kind of backwards in my head? Why isn't the horse at least like one of these horses? And you turn the dog into the horse, you turn 2 of the mice into the horse, and you turn, I don't know. That's how it played off in my head.
Before watching it today, what I thought happened was the dog got transformed into the horse, and the horse got transformed into the person. And I was like, why wouldn't she just keep the horse? But Then I got corrected that I was wrong.
Because she's the fairy godmother. She's wacky.
Well, she said that she wants to give the horse a chance.
Right.
To have the reins this time instead of being on the other end of them.
Yeah, I was going off of memory, so I didn't know that until I watched it.
I always thought because she's just wacky.
Well,
and
she is
goofy.
wacky. She couldn't find
Give
her
that
wand. It was great.
You give that horse lead horse, which technically he was, but he was leading the horse instead of being the lead horse.
Mm-hmm.
Characters?
Characters.
I hate that cat.
The characters in this movie are fantastic. Everyone has amazing designs, and everyone plays their parts beautifully.
I agree.
I like the idea that, like, hear me out on this. I like the idea that the mice were basically her dwarfs.
Right.
Were like they were dressed, and I thought that was really cute.
It did have the same kind of look and color scheme too.
Yeah.
Right?
Something I just thought of with characters. I don't know if it wouldn't count towards. It kind of counts towards story, but it's also for characters. So the two ugly stepsisters. They said when they were kids, they were ugly from birth all the way up or something like that. And I'm like, wait. And then they show them as kids. I'm like, they don't look like ugly kids. They look like normal kids. Why are you tell me they're ugly? They're not. They might have ugly personalities.
Product of the time, Mike. It was okay to call people ugly back then.
But I was curious why. Like when they're older, I kind of get it because they kind of they do the lines on the face to make them look like they're older than they are,
Right.
which they're portraying it as being uglier. Like that's what they were trying to do with the art style, it seemed.
Right.
But when they were kids, they just looked like kids, and I'm like, there's nothing about them that I see in an art design that makes it seem like they were supposed to be.
Yeah, I get that.
Just a little thing.
Cinderella's design is absolutely perfect. From her normal housework clothes to her ball gown, she is perfect. She was a perfectly designed character.
I have a gripe.
Huh?
I don't like the traditional Cinderella hair. The dress I love. I don't like the hairstyle. Like everything else.
Yeah, I guess I can see that.
Like if
It's
she
an
would
odd
have kept
hairstyle.
if she would have kept like the hairstyle that she had, which I'm pretty sure Walt and Friends did this intentionally, she looked a lot like Aurora. But I don't like when she was wearing the pink dress. Like I was like, "What, Sleeping Beauty?" Like, is that you? But like, I like the hair that she kept with that, and then her homely hairstyle more so than I don't know what you call that hairstyle that she has in the the magic dress.
It's all put up, and
Yeah, I didn't like it. I like the hair ribbon though, the hairband.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
yeah, if she would have stuck with her mullet from her housework, that'd be cool.
All right. Need a picture of that.
I think it was also put up as like a almost kind of a disguise, because it was like changing how your hairstyle is, and she wouldn't be recognized.
Right.
So it could have been something like that.
That and that hairstyle was a very, very big popular hairstyle around that time, showing like your class and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that all the animals, well, most of the animals, had clothes that Cinderella made for them. It's fantastic, especially the mice. The birds all had little hats and vests. It's great.
You know,
What?
Go ahead, Mike.
you go.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, which is honestly really cute when you think about the fact that they, return the favor and the love that she did for them. She made them all these outfits and whatnot, and so in return, they made her a dress.
Mhm.
So I'm like, that's cool.
Do the goats for that. Just gonna
Right.
say that. But what I was gonna say, like this is all kind of coming at me as we're talking about it. It's like just the scenes are kind of replaying back in my head. I watched this earlier today, so it's a little fresh. It's pretty fresh in my head when they come up. But I wonder how many times they had to do the feeding. Like the mice had to go for the feeding thing. Like she goes out there, feeds the animals, and that's also where the mice go get their food. How many times did they have to run past Lucifer? And if it's like all the time, how come Cinderella doesn't give them a little thing of food right by the little holes they make,
Yeah.
so they eat, so they don't have to risk their lives? Like when he was like, okay, we're gonna all put our tails together. One of us gonna distract the cat and get away from the door. I'm like, how many times do you guys have to do this? Why doesn't she just give you guys food in a
makes
safe
sense.
spot?
Because it is a fun gag if that was
It
the
is.
first time getting food, but that makes sense that wouldn't be the first time them getting food. They would be doing this every single day.
My assumption behind that is, like, the mice know that it's a struggle for them, but at the same time, they don't want to burden Cinderella with all the things she has to deal with already. That's my assumption, my headcanon at least.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And on that note, I loved all the mice. I loved their voice acting and the effects on them. I don't know if they sped them up or if they all just did voices. I would imagine they sped up the voices, but they were all amazing.
Probably made the pitch higher,
That's what I was thinking.
a little bit faster, a little bit higher.
And Lucifer
Yes.
really sucked. Mike, you already touched on that. But Lucifer
God, I
sucked.
hate that
Hate
cat.
that cat. That cat was the most hated. I was like, I don't even hate the step siblings and the stepmom. Like, I don't even hate them as much as I hate this cat. This cat was a horrible person from the second it showed up on screen.
It's perfect though. At the same time, the cat quite literally mirrored the personality
Of the name.
yeah, not just the name, but the personality of the owners in the house, the sisters, and the evil stepmom.
Yeah,
Mhm.
with that, I'll say Lady Tremaine was very menacing, and they did a very good job making her feel like the villain.
That was the villain in my eyes.
I would say I
Hated
do
that cat
like.
so much.
I did like the scene where Cinderella had to come into the room and like consult her because, like, it's very like reminiscent to when you were a kid and you get in trouble and your parents want to talk to you. Like
Mhm.
you already feel that glaring doom over your head. You don't know what they're gonna say, but you know that it's not gonna be good. So it was very like it's good that they did that and they like replicated a scenario that a lot of kids deal with very well.
So something funny though with the cat. Speaking of, they did something different that is not a typical stereotype towards cats, and that is the cat actually came when its name was called in a disciplinary way. And most of the time, it's always considered the cats will never respond when you call their name. They always ignore it. So I was like, oh, this movie's just lying to me now.
That's great. The stepsisters, I think they were fun whenever they would bicker with each other. That was always fun when they would make fun of each other or fight with
I
each
did
other.
enjoy that.
The King and the Grand Duke were fun. They had some fun moments together, even though the King was toxic, as we already talked about.
Yeah.
And as we already talked about, the fairy godmother was perfect. She looked so comforting. And
All right. I
just
would say this
everything.
though. Also, like the fairy godmother, I'll be 100% honest. If I was Cinderella at that moment, if somebody just appeared like that, I will be freaked out.
Well, it's not like she just appeared next to her or behind her or something. Cinderella was laying with her head on the bench, and then the fairy
That's-
godmother appeared with her in
That's
her
why I would
lap.
have been freaked out. If she appeared next to me, that's a different story. But she appeared quite literally under me. That would have, I would have been so scared.
Well, not just that, but like Cinderella doesn't even move in that whole scene. It's the same position, just now someone's underneath her. So it got my mind thinking, wait, what if Cinderella was just like floating on nothing? She thought she was on the bench, but she wasn't. She just started crying on just physical air.
Right.
So like she didn't move at all when she showed up. The manifestation was just like, nope, just same position, left alone. Oh, so she wasn't even really freaked out. She was like, at first like, oh, and then was like, oh, okay. We just do magic in here now. That's cool.
Prince Charming was the most vanilla looking dude, huh?
Yeah, okay, so hear me out. Like, he was a wet napkin. Like that's the best way I can put it. Like,
Oh my goodness.
there was like no personality. Like he was just there. Like,
Right. So I enjoyed the movie. I'll just skip ahead to general enjoyment, but I enjoyed the movie a lot, so I watched the second Cinderella to see if I would like that too. And they gave him more detailed design. So
oh wait, what about personality?
I didn't get far enough into it to discover that.
Seven Up
He's not
Witness.
in it. he's in it for a very short section, and then he leaves, and then he comes back. So I didn't get to the point where he came back, though.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Justice for Prince Charming. I want him to be a dry napkin by the end of that movie.
And
I
he
had
probably
a-
is.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, you go.
I was going to say, I had a hard time trying to decipher what his motives were. I was like, so is he a good person? Because they say he's only looking for someone who he truly loves, which I would assume would be in personality and not necessarily looks, because they never say that Snow White is supposed to be like, kind of like, or not so. Well, Snow White was, yeah. My brain got all mixed up because I was going to say that she's not in the same boat as Snow White, where she was considered the fairest of them all.
Right.
Right? And it didn't seem like anyone else there was like, it seemed like everybody was of like basically the same attraction level in terms of looks. So I was like, okay, so something with her made her stick out to him. And I'm like, is it looks? Is it because he doesn't know her personality at all? There's nothing there.
Love at first sight, man.
Is it looks? Is it like, I can't tell, is this guy like all about looks, or is he about what they're saying that he's about the actual love of the person?
Well, maybe a contributing factor to it was the fact like she wasn't like every other girl there. Every other girl there was crowding around him, wanting all of his attention. Cinderella was just in the back, like, still trying to find her way, didn't even know who he was.
So was the fact that she was built different.
Right.
Yeah. Quite literally.
She wasn't all oogling and ogling.
Yeah, I agree with Kevin on that. I do believe that it's the fact that she wasn't like, jumping after him. It was more of like you can tell the innocence in the purity of Cinderella versus the other ones. The other ones have ulterior motives, while Cinderella, quite literally, you can feel the goodness from her, basically.
She was just there for a good time.
Yep.
And then found love.
Yeah.
I guess that would make sense. He's like, man, all these girls keep coming up to me because of what my family is. Oh, that girl's not paying attention to me? That's the one.
Yeah.
She don't want nothing, clearly.
So speaking of all the other girls at the ball, there was a lady in the line to meet him, and the people were announcing them as they would come up to bow to him, right? And this girl's name was Mademoiselle, well, that's not her name, that's what they call her, Mademoiselle Lenora Mercedes de la Tour. And that has got to be the coolest name ever. And I think whenever someone asks me who my favorite Disney character from now on is, I'm going to say her.
You got to add the Mademoiselle part, though.
Yep.
Mademoiselle, something Mercedes Grand Tour.
Lenora Mercedes de la Tour.
Crazy
what a
name.
Freaking cool name.
Isn't it, though?
That's a mouthful.
It is. Her initials go crazy.
We're still on characters, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll wait to say this when we get the animation then.
I'm done in characters if you guys are ready to move on.
Wait, I have one more character.
Do it.
The dog. I don't remember his name.
The goat.
Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno.
I love Bruno because when it shows how the saying go, dogs is man best friends, and dogs are very loyal to a fault. Even when Cinderella was scolding him about Lucifer, you guys need to get along, he was even willing to bite his tongue essentially. But Lucifer, being the little turd that he is, ends up getting Bruno in trouble, and even then Bruno still didn't have any gripes with Cinderella or anybody else. So I love that.
I want to say I feel bad for Cinderella, but I also feel bad for her dad. Obviously, we don't really see anything much of him other than he remarried her. Mm-hmm. And I gotta think, the only way that I would believe this man would remarry someone who is not at that point being publicly abusive to his daughter, but after he passes decides to, he got played really hard.
Oh, yeah, he did.
And they got fooled by this evil, deceptive person, and I'm like, I feel so bad for them. And this man doesn't even realize that who he thought was someone who could trust, basically, after passing, sees how they treat his flesh and blooded daughter. And it's like,
they said he remarried because he wanted Cinderella to have a new motherly figure in her life, and she did not get that.
Yep, and then the lady was like, I'm gonna put this tonic in your dad's drink. And that's what happened.
Well, I guess you could say she learned how not to be.
Right.
True.
It was like the lesson of that's not how I want to be.
Bill's character, man.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I had to go in a bad way. Would rather not have it be like that, but you know.
You guys ready to move on to animation?
Yes, sir.
So my first note that I want to make is the movie's animation was a major step up from the movies that came before it.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it is a huge, because from Snow White to everything else up till now, there was no real jump up, but I think, to me at least, there was a huge jump up from Ichabod to this.
Oh yeah. And I mean, going back to the storyline and plot ever so slightly, you know, now that you're saying that, it's like the pacing of this movie was
so
just
good.
so much better.
Oh yeah.
You know, like every scene had a reason, had something to give to the movie. You know, there wasn't fillers, there wasn't, you know, this or that, and like just all of it was flowed very nicely.
I like that you said it too, Kevin, because like the previous movies, not all of them, but like most of the previous movies, I'm like watching with like one eyeball and the other eyeball is like doing something else. But this
Right.
movie, I was doing that for like I think the first 10 minutes, and then my attention, both the eyeballs locked onto the TV, and I was like, wow, this has captured my attention fully.
Yeah, there's a reason to watch.
The pacing is very, very good. Like it's not a drag. It's not too fast. It's the perfect balance of pacing.
Yep.
It really gives it the new age look. Like you can tell it's a different like movie era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this, like, speaking of eras, this is the start of the Silver Age.
That's what I'm saying. Is like you can tell from looking back at those to this one. It's like there's something more. Like there's something different about it. You can feel from watching it.
Yeah. Was that the note that you wanted to mention?
No, I was just gonna point out how I find it funny how at first the two stepsisters have separate rooms in the beginning of the movie, and then at the end they show they're sleeping in the same room. So it went from they had two separate rooms to now they have one room because all their clothes were in the one room too, and they each had different dressers on, or not dressers, closets on each side that they were throwing clothes out.
Yeah, that just seems like a plot hole they overlooked.
Oh
Yeah.
wait, small thing.
I just
small
found it
thing.
funny.
So I was gonna ask where did Cinderella get her name from, but then I said never mind. But then I thought to myself, her name is Cinderella, and cinder is usually related to fire. So why is her dress not like orange or
So-
red?
Her name is not Cinderella. I don't know why that's not brought up in this movie, but in almost every other version of Cinderella, it is. Her name is not Cinderella. They call her Cinderella because she has cinder all over her from cleaning, I think, the
Oh, that's kind of cool.
yeah.
In an awful way, but that's kind of cool. Wait, do you see that? Okay, this is some like okay. I'm gonna go on a mini tangent. I'm gonna make it really
Do it.
quick. I love that. It's the definition of using what people use. It's the definition of taking what someone used to beat you down and turning it into something great. It's the same with like Dumbo. Like Dumbo used that insult and turned it into something great.
Right.
Cinderella used the insult and turned it into something great. Basically, removing and restricting all power from the negativity and the bullying of said name. That's awesome. I love it.
Just seeing.
Oh.
I was just trying to look it up so I can actually say what is factual, but if anyone cares, they'll look it up themselves.
Also, I should have brought this up earlier because I just thought of it with the animation style. Because I was thinking of it to Ichabod with the horseman's horse, like the headless horseman's horse from Ichabod, and the horses that were sent out to capture Cinderella at the other one. But it just brings me back to the point of that the king is a weird guy. This man's immediately like send out the horse to send out these people to capture her when she's leaving.
The king didn't. The Grand Duke did. The king was sleeping.
I thought that the king told him to do it.
The
Was that
king
not?
said, "Don't let her leave." So
Yeah, so I'm counting that as his rule. He says the rule, and everyone else just has to do.
right.
Okay, we have to make sure we get what he said done. And then these men pulled out swords. I was like, wait, why are they got swords out? Hold
They're
up now.
gonna take
There's
out
an
the
issue
horses.
here. The horses were fine. It was the people on the horse. I was like, wait, why they got swords out?
Yeah. They were
Relax.
going to take out the horses. That's what they were going to do. Any means necessary to get that carriage to stop.
No, not the horses, please. Just hit the wheels or something. But I was just like, it just goes back to the thing I was saying with the king is just a weird guy,
Sure
and that's a
is.
weird. He's just a weirdo.
The animation of the bubbles while Cinderella was singing while cleaning, that was a pretty fun scene. Very good how they put her in the bubbles, and it's great. It's amazing just to, like, I said this in Snow White, but it's just amazing to think of what they were able to do without computers.
Oh yeah, and they actually put a hidden Mickey right there in that scene too.
I did notice that, and I was like, is that supposed to be Mickey, or am I just putting things together because it's circles?
Yep. Nope. It's actually a hidden Mickey.
We should definitely keep track of that subliminal Mickey.
There's hidden Mickeys everywhere, so we won't have trouble finding them.
Well,
I didn't
see it.
notice it, so
There's a hidden Mickey in Frozen that we'll talk about when we get there. So be on the lookout for him.
I don't wanna.
But on that aspect of animation, I love this animation because quite literally, oh, thank you, Kevin, for sending that. But
You're welcome.
quite literally, like I love the animation because it, for me, this animation, I don't know if this was intentionally done, because if you look at all the other Disney movies, they are framed differently, and then you look at Snow White, and Snow White is framed differently than Pinocchio, Dumbo, and etc. But Snow White is framed somewhat similar to Cinderella, but Cinderella's the, capitalization of that framing. I don't know if that's did intentionally for Disney princesses or not, but it feels like it's intentional.
Well, this is a fairy tale princess story, so maybe they wanted the styles to be similar. I don't know.
Oh, it makes sense with the beginning, because the beginning, I'm like, oh, they brought
book.
back the book.
Yeah.
I mean, it was in Ichabod and Mr. Crane too, but
I
like they're
think
done
the-
differently. One was like pulling a story from a bookshelf and be like, look at this. The other one's like presented on cloth and opening up with the story.
Yeah.
I don't know, they're done differently.
Yeah, because like
But-
when you look at like Snow White's face when she makes expressions, it's very, very like fluid, almost as if a person's making those faces. Same with like, Cinderella, Snow White, the two of them, like you can see like you can see all the keyframes of the face moving. While characters like, and this is no harping on, the other movies whatsoever, but characters like Geppetto, Pinocchio, Dumbo and whatnot, like they're more cartoony. Like there's not a lot of like different frames of animation going on in the face. So I just thought that was really cool, and I think they do it for more of their high budget Disney princesses.
Very
Something-
astute observation.
There's something
So-
else I'm surprised. Oh, go on, Kevin.
So, I don't know if it's side tangent. It's kind of like a tie-in, but they shot this movie in live action before they actually animated it.
Wow.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's dope.
That's incredible. That's a lot of work.
Yep. The animators weren't thrilled because they felt like it kind of limited their creativity.
Right.
Understandably so.
But yeah, that might kind of have something to do with, the differences that we're talking about now.
That makes a lot of sense when you give me that information.
I think they did get to be able to have some fun, because the thing I was going to point out was the definite scenes with the animals, especially mostly with Lucifer and the mice. Definitely to me, and this is a drawback to Dino's Tom and Jerry thing, but it was literally, I'm watching this, I'm like, I feel like I'm watching Tom and Jerry watching this. The animation, the little slapstick humor, the way that it's being portrayed really felt like, very Tom and Jerry-esque. So I think that's where they got to put their creativity to, is towards that.
I find it
They
odd
did.
that this is like the fourth time Tom and Jerry has come up in a podcast about Disney.
They did do a very good job on the animation with the animals and like you said, like the slapstick humor. Like that entire scene with Lucifer battling them within like the fabric of clothing and whatnot it was nice. I liked it.
And then he got his face shoved into the mouse hole, and he pulled it out, and it was like
It was a
all
square.
mouse shaped.
Yeah.
And then he had the button-shaped nose when the button flicked into his nose.
Oh, yeah.
Cat deserved it.
So the scene of the mice and birds making her dress is what I remember most about this movie. Like whenever I think about Cinderella, that's the scene I think about. And Box Lunch, the store that I like to frequent now that it's right around the corner, they have an awesome hoodie where it's Cinderella blue and it has the mice on it, like with needles and thread, and there's a bunch of stitches on it. The drawstrings on the hood is measuring tapes, and there's buttons sewed on it all in random places. It is a great looking hoodie, and I want to buy it so bad.
What's stopping?
It's expensive. This past weekend, it's $55. So this past weekend, we bought my wife a Tigger sweatshirt. So the next time we go, it'll be my turn to buy something.
That does sound pretty cool.
It is cool. I'll send you
I
guys
need
a
to go to
picture.
the store one day.
It is a cool store. But going on to the transformation scene, that scene is amazingly animated, and her carriage is an iconic design.
It really is. You see it in a lot of different medias too. I would say I have a minor gripe. It's nothing too big. It's just me being nitpicky. So take it with a massive grain of salt. So my only gripe on that scene is I don't remember the carriage taking that long. The pumpkin taking that long to turn to the carriage. I always thought that was a faster process.
I was writing notes while that scene was happening, so I can't comment on how long or short it was.
It was a pretty long transformation for the carriage.
I thought it was cool though. It added like more character to it because it's like it wasn't just turning a pumpkin into a carriage. It was like bringing the pumpkin to life and then it making its way over, and then the slow transformation into the pumpkin carriage.
Right. It was the vines that got me. The vines just seemed like they were just doing the most.
I want to just keep this on brand to like when Dino said about how, it's a very iconic scene that gets portrayed in a lot of things. I'm pretty positive I've seen this scene like in Tom and Jerry at least once. I just want to keep it on brand.
Well, I'll keep it on brand. I'm going to drop another fact here. Even though I think it was Dumbo that was Walt's favorite movie.
Yep.
Well, actually, Cinderella's fairy godmother transformation scene is his favorite piece of animation ever.
Oh, really?
Can't blame him.
So I'm going to hit you guys with something, right?
That's where the creativity gets to come in again for them.
All three of you know the cartoon Fairy Odd Parents, right?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
There was a Halloween episode where Timmy wished for everyone to become quite literally their costumes. Mm-hmm. And someone was Cinderella, and they had the whole entire pumpkin carriage scene. And I thought that was cool.
That's sweet. Man, Halloween specials on those old cartoons were my favorite. Like the Jimmy Neutron one. Loved it.
Oh, that was my favorite.
All the Tom and Jerry ones were great, too.
Cinderella's dress was incredible. And so much so when she made her grand entrance, even the guards couldn't resist looking.
Yeah, I thought both of them were. Even the one that the stepsisters destroyed.
Right.
Like, wow.
I liked it. I especially liked that they didn't do the thing they did for the stepsister's dress. I don't know why they're like, you need to have this, like, that
dump truck.
Wire. No, because it's not that. It's like a huge case of wiring basically back there that gives it that look. And I never liked it. I've never liked that look for dresses. But I liked that Cinderella's was like, doesn't have it. It's perfect for her look. It fits so great. The only issue I had was I did not like the teal beads. I think it was
and the pink
better without teal beads.
I like the teal beads. Like for the
ass, like
think of like neon colors. Like when you think of neon colors, it's always that pink really, and then the neon like teal. So I thought it was nice. It was complimentary. It's supposed to stand out.
True, but that's not a neon teal. It's not a neon teal. It's like a more darker teal.
Yep.
Plus, you don't put like, you're not supposed to. I mean, obviously you can wear whatever you want. So anyone do what they want, but you don't put like bright. You wouldn't put bright on top of bright. Basically, you wouldn't put like neon orange with neon yellow and then neon green, because it starts to
that would
become
be a bad
blinding
look.
to eyes. You want to contrast it with some darker colors.
I do agree with that, and that's the reason why she had, only 3 colors. And I will say those colors worked very well. The teal beads stood out, as
Well, I
jury's
mean,
supposed
if
to
there was
stand out.
other teal in the dress, then sure. But just the only teal was that necklace, and it's just really odd.
Absolutely, jury's supposed to stand out.
I don't know.
It doesn't stand out in a way, like, again, whoever wants to do, you wear what you wear. Do you let yourself be yourself and wear whatever you like, color wise, whatever. These aren't like hard rules that you'll be arrested for on the spot for disobeying. Oh, but it does seem odd to me to have, if she had the teal necklace with the white dress that she gets later on, I would think that's perfect.
Oh,
But having the teal necklace with the pink and white dress is weird in my opinion of color coordination.
Mike's never seen Dumb and Dumber.
oh yeah.
Well,
The orange suit with
I
the
don't
orange
know
hat.
if that is the staple of fashion.
I'll tell you what.
Joey, didn't you wear some orange for
I didn't
prom?
say it was good.
It was
My black and
definitely
orange
great.
tuxedo for prom was terrible.
It was
Okay.
amazing.
Actually, yeah, I've
You
never
know
seen
what?
that movie though.
Ricky Fowler. Let's just say
Ricky
that. We
Fowler
had the
is
Rocket
sweet.
Mortgage Classic over the weekend. All right.
Fair.
Ricky Fowler. There
Ricky
we go.
Fowler's pretty cool.
But
Even he doesn't wear bright clothing like he used to.
No, he still wears the orange.
But it's not head to toe anymore.
Well, yeah, not anymore. But in a recent interview, he said he's going to bring it back.
Man, I used to love Ricky Fowler because orange was my favorite color growing up, and everybody hates the color orange.
wait,
Oh,
hold
that
on. You
guy-
said what?
True, but there's something with this, Kevin, that you're missing. Is that's in a color spectrum. These are all different shades of orange,
Right.
not multiple different color shades.
Wait,
They're different shades of the same color spectrum,
Hold on.
and that's
hold
why
on.
it can work.
Joey, you said orange was your favorite color.
Yeah.
What's your favorite color now?
Well, I mean, I don't really think about my favorite color all that often.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm going to
It's now
say
yellow, or
something,
his
if I'm
wife's
going
gonna
to
get
say
mad.
something's my favorite color, I'm going to go off of what I wear most often, and I guess the color that I have the most of is probably blue.
Me too. But check this out. Check out this really, really cool segue on the topic of her dress and the beads. Can we talk about the scene where the sisters decided to rip her dress apart and the evil stepmom just watched?
She encouraged it. She's evil.
Yeah. I have notes on that for emotional impact.
That's
So what were you gonna say with it, Dino?
that scene definitely triggered me. Like I was on my way of crawling into the TV and boxing out some peoples.
Yeah, the note that I have for emotional impact on that is the scene when the stepsisters are destroying her dress is so uncomfortable to watch, and it's so heartbreaking on how cruel they are.
I agree. It was so frustrating because the animators and the sound production, everything, voice acting, all of it, it was framed so well because they did this thing where with each grab of a hand, it went to the dress, and then when they pulled, it went to the next sister's hand to a pull, and it was like a consistent back and forth. There was no break in between.
Right. It's awful. The prince and Cinderella dancing, that whole scene of them going throughout the grounds of the castle with all the different scenery, that was a sweet design and sweet animation. I guess that could be a note for world building as well, but I like that whole scene. But there is one bad piece of animation that stands out to me. And it's when Gus and Jacques are trying to get the key from the Lady Tremaine. And they look at her pocket, because that's where the key is, and then the key lights up through her pocket like a video game. And that was just very out of place for me. I did not like that.
It was just to reiterate, hey, like the key is right here, you know.
I don't think they needed
Like
to do that.
so it didn't, you know, like they're not just looking at a pocket, you know. It's just like a nice reminder, like, hey, this is still the goal.
Well, I mean, if they would have pointed, and then they show the key, and you're going to put two and two together, the key's there, and then 2 seconds later, when they go to the pocket and the key's in there, you'd be like, oh, that's why they were looking at the pocket.
Okay, so I want someone to correct me on this because this goes kind of into that whole getting the key scene. Mice, when they're in your house, right, and they make the mice hole, that's because they bit through that, right? Like they bite through that to make that hole for them out.
I don't know anything about mice. I would guess that they scratched their way through, but what do I know?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure, but if I do recall, it is a combination of biting and scratching.
Okay, because I was thinking, wait, why wouldn't they just bite around the hinges of the door, open it, you know, that way? Because I was like, get the hinges instead of trying to climb.
Well,
because they make it seem like all the stairs. Obviously, it's gonna work at the end, but I'm thinking, man, that's a lot of stairs for these only 2 of these mice, the only 2 that went to go down all the stairs, plus the extra stairs that go into the hall to get across into the pocket, get, you know, the whole travel. I'm like, I wondered if it would have been easier to just bite the door. And at some point I was like, you should have just bit the door. Just bite around the hinges of the door.
Yeah, but see, that's a process. That's a long process. You know, mice, they move fast. Man, they're quick as you couldn't even imagine. You know, the way they scurry around the houses, they can get up and down so quick. And, you know, they got their own little access.
Yeah, I would guess it's because they probably take days to get through a wall.
Oh, I'm going to look it up real quick. Oh, why isn't that typing?
And just while he's doing that, that's all I have for animation. So if you guys don't have anything, we can move to soundtrack.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else for animation. So, yeah, soundtrack it is, as Mike is doing his Google search.
Capable of chewing through a thin, soft wall made of plywood or drywall from less than 2 hours up to 1 week. God dang.
Yeah, so
And that was not a thin plywood.
No, that's a solid wood door.
Do you think
Hardwood.
all of them work together?
I
They would
don't
have got
know,
through it.
Yeah, no.
I mean, only one can work in one area at a time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
They work
Well, technically
around.
2, because they could meet in the middle, but yes.
Okay, good point. All right, music.
And I'm just sad though, well, they helped at the end, so that's fine. Anyways, go on.
I liked pretty much all the music. I didn't find any that I didn't like. Even the opening song that was pretty bland was all right.
soundtrack was an absolute banger. This
wouldn't
is the
I wouldn't go
first,
that
like,
far.
I don't want to say like first, like great soundtrack, right? But this is where they really started to hit their stride with the storytelling of the soundtracks and the individual songs.
Right. Well, because A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes is iconic. That song's amazing.
Yeah.
Cinderella, I don't know what that one's actually called, but the song that they're singing when they're making her dress, that's a great song. Bippity Boppity Boo, that's a great song. What's the other one? So This Is Love, that's a great song.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you, Kevin, had said that When You Wish Upon a Star is one of the most iconic songs ever, if not the most.
Yep.
But I think I would put Bippity Boppity Boo above that.
Beg to differ. Nope. You want to know why? Because When You Wish Upon a Star is in every single Disney movie.
Yes, it's hard to argue against that.
Exactly. There you go.
But I don't
Nice
have that
try.
song on my Spotify playlist.
I respect your try, your attempt. But When You Wish Upon a Star is in every single movie.
I will counter with that song's not in my Spotify playlist, but Bippity Boppity Boo is.
No.
I love it. I love it.
Well, maybe you need to get better taste in music. Just enough. Kidding. No, I'm kidding.
I would say this too. Like, shockingly, I actually like a good portion, if not all, the songs in this movie. And it's usually hard for me to like songs in a Disney movie because sometimes I feel like they're oversaturated. but this felt like a perfect amount of songs, to be honest, and they didn't overstay their welcome. In fact, some of them fit the bill perfectly, and there was like maybe like two that I wish stayed a little longer.
Yeah, I never realized how short Bippity Boppity Boo was.
That was the one I wanted to stay longer.
It's only like
I'm trying
40
to see if there's a
seconds.
list that has like the top 5 to top 10 songs. I want to see if one of those.
Kevin sent us a list a couple of months ago, and that list was awful.
Of
Oh,
songs.
we're not talking about that one. No, I don't know who put that in. And I remember that video, and I was like offended.
Because wasn't only one Tarzan song on that list?
Yeah, that was absolutely horrible. I don't know who puts these lists together, but gee whiz.
Oh man,
It
wait
was
until they
top
find out
100,
about
and there was only one Tarzan song.
Yeah, right? Oh. But no, I'm not saying it's the best Disney song ever, but When You Wish Upon a Star, no, it wasn't in every single movie, right? But there's a reason it's the opening to all of the Disney films basically since the 1980s, since they started the opening,
Right.
castle scene.
Well, technically,
saying
they
it's the best.
They went back and put it in front of all these old ones too, didn't they? Or no, did they not?
I don't think so, no.
It was at the
I
end
was
of
just-
Cinderella. I thought that was weird. When the movie ended, it played.
Yeah, it was like a reprise.
I was just curious what it would be more, people considered to be more iconic, because it got me curious. That's all. And I can't really
like I
find
said,
what I'm
it's
looking
hard
for.
to
So
argue against the fact that it's in front of every single movie. So, I'll take
And it's
second
one-
place.
It's definitely one of the songs you hear too when you go to Disneyland.
yeah, but what if they were like, what if Bippity Boppity Boo came out before Wish Upon a Star? Would things be different?
I don't think
Well,
so.
I don't think Bippity Boppity Boo would be in front of every movie. That'd be a weird song.
The melody would probably be there, but not the actual lyrics.
Maybe.
Do, 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 do.
That's a good.
That's all I have for music. If you guys want to continue, go for it. If not,
I don't have anything else for music.
okay.
No.
We'll
Just
go to
Great
emotional impact.
soundtrack.
Great, yep. Emotional impact. The only thing I have is that the stepmother was a real nasty lady telling Cinderella that she could go to the ball and getting her hopes up, even though she knew she had no intentions of letting her go.
Yeah, I didn't like that. It's a very, very like awful way to discourage somebody and to cause basically to make a person beat on themselves. Basically, like
Yep.
after that, she started lost courage in herself, denied herself, and it was a very nasty tactic.
So
What's the hope of dreaming?
to bring this into emotional manipulation, it's not really that, but whatever. I
Yes.
read a thing about telling your children maybe you should never do that, because as a kid, when you hear maybe, you don't hear maybe, you hear yes. But when you eventually get told no, it's devastating, and it's more devastating than if you would have just been told no in the first place. So people say you shouldn't tell your kids maybe. You should either tell them yes if you think you're going to do it, or just flat out tell them no, because it's going to be worse if you say maybe and then say no later.
It's because, like, as a kid, kids are very, generally happier. They are always going to go for a more positive thing, especially when it's something that excites them. It's like, can we go to this thing? Maybe if we do this, they're automatically like, it's going to be that.
Yeah, it's like,
And then when it doesn't, it's a lot more devastating than if you just told them no right away. So, yeah.
so that's like getting her hopes up, even though you know you're not going to do it. It's just, I hate Lady Tremaine.
That's something that I also need to touch on. I agree with you 100% on that, Joey. You shouldn't tell your kids maybe, because they can't really read the person's the parents' intentions. They have
Right.
not developed being able to understand social cues to that degree, which bothered me about Cinderella. Like, how this lady is and whatnot. You would think that she would be able to you know, understand how she is, understand her personality, and know that there's a catch-21 with it. But I guess it's the aspect of she was so overjoyed at the aspect of being able to finally do something that she did not use that part of her thinking.
Right.
Because we've all been there where we've been like really excited about something and we did not think about the other things that can take place in the process.
Yeah, like Lady Tremaine probably never told her in her life that she was allowed to do something. So this
Right.
she was finally told, yes, I can do this. And she gets so excited, she's not even thinking that she's sinister about it.
Right.
And then she is terrible.
But as far as
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as far as going into like her knowing how she knows but doesn't see like technically that it's wrong, because it's unfortunate that from a young age she has to deal with that for so long, and it's basically like it's hardwired into her head that this is just how it is and not this isn't how it should be. So she's grown up the whole time thinking this is just how it is. So where it's like, oh, she's gonna trick me, manipulate me, things like that, and thinking how she is, that's not what she's thinking at all. Because she's just already been led to think, I'm below them for this reason or whatever, and I have to do what they say, and I just do what they tell me.
Right.
So that one glimmer of hope of, yes, it does say you can go. It's like, she said, I'm, again, the child thing, I'm allowed to go. She said I'm allowed to go. Follow what her words are.
Right. Which, when you sit down and think about it too, like it's another form of like horrible like mental abuse, because she quite literally knew that if she were to say yes, it would give her hopes up. And like you said, Joe, she probably never told her, yes before at all. So the first time being perceived with a positive notion to be lied to can lead to like worse problems in the future.
Oh, yeah.
That lady had a terrible brain on her. A smart brain, but a terrible one.
And that's all I have for emotional impact. So if you guys don't have anything, we can move on to message/theme.
The only thing I have for emotional impact is the fact that like the thing that hit me the hardest is what Mike was saying as well. Like when she realized that she wasn't gonna be able to go the first time, she went in her room and she was like, well, that's just how things are. I didn't want to go to this ball anyways. And I'm like, man, that hits heavy, because it was her lying to her. It was her lying to herself, essentially. Like,
Right.
She knew that she actually did want said thing, but she was basically trying to lie to herself so she wouldn't feel nearly as bad, which ultimately makes you feel worse. So that was the thing that hit me the hardest.
Beautiful.
If you think about it, evil stepmother easily could have just been like, you could if you didn't have all these chores that you have to do, plus these extra things that I need done. That would have stomped that right there.
Yep, but that would have been evil enough.
Wouldn't
That
have
is
been
true.
Manipulative enough.
Yep, agreed.
But then again, they didn't expect her to, because remember when they were like, "Oh, you're not going? Oh, you don't have a dress? Oh, that's a shame." They were expecting her to not have any time.
Yeah.
So it was when she came down with the dress, she was like, "There is no absolute way you finish that."
Yep.
And when was able to point out all that stuff to get the other two to start tearing it apart.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I would say emotional impact was pretty up there, because every time they were like doing something mean, I'm like, this, like it actually kind of affected me, especially when the whole mouse thing. He's like, you did it purposely, and then it was immediately like, yep, that's the fact. The fact is, it was done purposely, and she's trying to say, there's no way you really think. Silence. And then immediately quiets her. I'm like,
Right.
oh, that's getting on my nerves. That's getting on my dang nerves. Why would you think she would purposely do this? She's. I don't know. There's a lot. Plus that cat. It was the first scene with the dog that I was like, I absolutely hate this cat.
and then
Before it's like, this cat's a jerk. And then it was like, does the whole lays down, claws the dog's face, Like, obviously, it's not as violent as I probably made it sound, but basically was that to make him, like, you know, bark back so the cat could whine and be looked at that way. I'm like, I really hate this cat.
Yeah.
Exactly like them, manipulative.
Then the cat, she's cleaning the floors, and the cat sees the dustpan and goes, you know what, I'm just going to ruin these floors.
Again, like, why? Like, you were suffering up there with the singing, so you're like, I'm gonna leave this going on here. Oh, she's cleaning. I'm just gonna mess this up. There's no reason.
It shows, though. It shows that, like, the entire family outside of Cinderella are just horrible people, and they've all learned from the evil stepmother. They learned her nasty ways, and they implement it in their everyday lives.
A cat sucked so much.
So with message/theme, I want to touch on something real quick that we've already touched on a bit, where I say that Cinderella went to the ball to meet the prince, but when he asked her to dance, she didn't know who he was and didn't know that he was the prince, and she thought he was just some random guy, and she fell in love with him anyways. And that's a great message there. It's a bit problematic that she fell in love in one night, but that's Disney magic for you.
Yeah.
Well, when you're held captive in a house and abused by people who clearly aren't showing you love, and then someone shows you the ounce of kindness, well, happens pretty fast, unfortunately.
Yeah. So then, to avoid all the stuff that we've been going on for the past 2 episodes of you guys just making up random stuff for the message and themes, I looked up what the message was of Cinderella, and this is what it said. Cinderella teaches the morals of kindness towards all, forgiving others for doing wrong, and never letting bad things ruin your heart. The theme of the story are good versus evil and luck changing your life.
I do want to say,
godmother.
I do want to say something on the aspect of the whole, like, Prince Charming thing.
Yep.
I don't necessarily think that falling in love at first sight is a bad thing. Like, I think that everything was fine there. The only part, the moment it got bad is when she married off first sight. That right there is a no. But falling in love off first sight is fine, because that's typically, you know, that's how, you know, dating goes and whatnot. But you don't just get married when you see somebody one time. That's madness.
Well, to be
I
fair,
blame the father for that one.
You don't know how much time was in between the shoe fitting and the wedding. It could have been a couple days.
True.
2 days.
It could have been any ounce of time. Could have been 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks. You never know. But at the same time, I blame the dad on that, because that dad was all keen on that. He called, he said, how is he ever going to get a mother? Like, you know, saying having a mother, like, that she has her own kids. I'm like, they haven't even made her. What? Jumping the ball real fast there.
And to be fair,
and he was straight up saying, like, he's gonna marry, he's gonna propose. That's how it's gonna be.
And he doesn't win in the end, because the sequel and the other sequel, there's 3. Well, yeah, there's 3 Cinderellas. They don't have kids, so they didn't jump on having
Spoiler
kids.
alert.
Hey, excuse me, 3 Cinderellas. Who? Why are we just stealing names?
What?
What's the sequel?
Why is it 3 Cinderellas?
There's 2 sequels. I'll talk about that in Legacy.
Oh! You see where my brain was? See, when you said
You
the
thought
other
there were 3
Cinderella,
versions of
I
Cinderella
thought there
the
was
person.
3 Cinderella. Like, what did she do? Name like all 3 of her kids Cinderella? Like, what is this madness?
So I regret to ask this, but do you guys have anything else on message/theme?
I think the message in the message of the, I'm gonna ignore the theme part, but I think the message of the movie is bippity boppity boo.
Right. I forgot to mention it in my stuff, but it's her being just so good and so pure and positive, like Kevin just said, throughout all the bad stuff that she experiences. Is just, it's amazing. It's incredible.
Yep.
Because she still had her dreams.
She was focused on her faith and hope and dreams. And that's what it is, you know? Yeah, you know, life can be rough, you know? Nobody likes, you know, doing all their chores and doing this and doing that. You know, rather it's worst case scenario, best case scenario. But you know what? Cinderella does it best. And she keeps her chin up and she keeps her hopes high through everything.
Yep.
Oh my God, guys! I just thought of something, Kevin. That's actually beautiful. I love that. Like so I looked up the song Bippity Boppity Boo.
Uh-huh.
I've been saying it wrong this entire time and no one's corrected me. It's
What'd you
not Bippity, it's Bibbidi.
Oh, it's bees, not peas?
It's bees, not
Mhm.
bees. But when you look it up on Google, it's P. But when you actually see the video, it's D. So like, who's wrong here, Google or the video?
That's weird.
The message/theme. Don't be ugly on the inside.
Yeah, that's good.
Because everyone can be beautiful
Look
on the
at-
inside.
Everyone is on
Don't
track
be a
today.
jerk. Don't be abusive. Be
All right,
kind.
boys, it's time to get off track. Come on, let's derail this train.
Oh, you're right. Hold on. The message is don't get
Be
a
like
cat.
Lucifer.
No, don't get a cat. They're not good company.
Oh, I just thought of another message. Hear me out. I know this sounds wild, but trust me, it's on track. It's on brand. It's on brand, bro. Trust me. When you get a pet, make sure you act accordingly so that pet can become like you. Not like Lucifer. That cat sucks.
I got
But I mean,
another
he
one.
acted accordingly to his owner.
He did. He very.
So
he very
can you
much
really
did.
blame the cat if you're saying the
Yeah,
pet's
you
the
can.
product of its environment?
Well,
You're right. Yeah, hold on. My man is.
there's
My
no
man is
bad dogs,
sitting
there's
right
bad
now.
owners. I would
The
imagine the same goes
message-
for cats.
Agreed.
The message of the movie. Welcome mice into your home because if you clothe them and feed them,
I
they'll
don't know
make
about
you
that.
great clothing.
I was going to joke and say that if you're going to live in a terrible situation, make sure you have passageways so mice can help you.
Oh,
That's
and birds. Welcome wildlife into your home. Just welcome them in. Give them clothes, feed them, and they'll make you clothes in return.
Become one with nature.
All right. We're going to humor. I'm cutting it off.
I thought that was good.
The very first humorous thing that I saw was the mouse tail was tangled when he woke up on that feather and he had to untangle it.
I felt that pain.
Oh,
Not with the
yeah,
tail, but with just
really?
headphones. Mainly reminded me of pulling headphones out of my pocket and being
Oh,
like, how?
And then all the
Humor.
mice were saying zuck zuck. I don't know what that is, but it was amazing.
let's find out. Google.
Google. Acknowledgement or agreement. A comment made a while ago. Yep, yep is the correct answer.
Oh, you did that fast. How'd you do
What's
that
up?
so fast?
I just typed
I
in
don't know.
zuck zuck.
I don't know if this should have went in with characters. But Gus's real name is Octavius, and I
That's
love
amazing.
Wait, what?
Wait, that just reminded me. I had a weird thing about that because, like, I would have imagined the nickname would have been Otto.
Otto.
And they're like Octavius. I'm like, dang, that's a sophisticated name. So his nickname
Love
is
it.
Otto, and they're like Gus. I'm like, where the heck did you get Gus from?
She pulls him out of the trap and goes, "You need a name. I'm gonna call you Octavius. Gus for short."
But I still want to know because it's not Octavius. It's Octavius. There's no G in his name. Thank you for bringing that up, Kevin, because now I'm bothered
Yeah.
by that again.
I've been sitting on it for a minute. I've been wanting to say it.
Gus is actually short for Augustus. It's the only
That
thing-
makes sense.
That's nothing's coming up for Gus being short for Octavius.
So the movie lied to
Cinderella's
me
weird, I
twice.
guess.
The movie's lied to me twice. It made me
I mean,
think that Octavius could be shortened to Gus, and that cats respond to their name.
But man, Gus had so many funny parts. Like when he got dressed for the first time and the shirt didn't fit. When Gus wanted to take Lucifer, but Jacques had to hold him back because he obviously knew he couldn't take him.
That
And
man
then
was
he
ready
wanted
to
to fight
swing.
Lady Tremaine towards the end too, and Jacques had to hold him back.
What I've learned is that Gus quite
Octavius.
literally did not know the laws of nature and was ready to box just about anybody.
Yeah.
It's funny that he was, but then when presented with it, he'd be like, actually, you know what? I want to leave. And then he'd be like, I'm going to fight again. and then present it with it. I'm gonna go. Like,
What else is there? Gus with all the food when he's trying to carry more than he can, and he just keeps dropping it.
Yes. And he keeps risking it. He keeps reaching and trying to get that last piece that he cannot get.
that was bread, right?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
don't know if it was corn or bread.
corn.
Because as a kid, I thought it was like either corn or cheese.
Well, I always thought it was cheese, but today watching it, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. They wouldn't be feeding the chickens cheese.
Exactly. Like as a kid, I thought it was like either corn or cheese, and then watching the movie, I'm like, okay, so it's probably bread, or is it corn? I don't know now.
It was crackers.
No.
Yep.
No.
Another time that Gus did something funny was when they presented the dress to Cinderella. He goes, "Happy birthday."
That was adorable. I'm not gonna lie, I smiled so. I thought that was the most adorable thing in this whole movie. I literally I grinned so hard when that happened. I'm like, why'd that make me grin? It was just so cute. It was
He was so genuine about it.
He's like, "Happy birthday!" I'm like,
I am so
You're
happy
so
that
stupid.
you all can take part in the enjoyment of that, but I can't for one reason. I have a coworker at my job who every day tells me happy birthday,
That would be
happy
annoying.
Father's Day, happy Thanksgiving. And I'm just like, none of these days are right now. Why are you doing this?
That would be annoying.
I see that would be annoying. I think it's the difference of this is a grown adult clearly doing something to just be either
Annoying.
trying to be funny or that can become annoying. And compared to someone who is basically like a child, like a
Right.
child who does not know any better,
Right?
just saying it. They just know that's something you say. So presenting it, just said it, just blurted it out.
Right. At this point, though, I just chime back in with telling her happy whatever holiday that's not that day.
They got you. You're playing along now.
Another funny part was when the mice were deciding who was going to go distract Lucifer. Well, first of all, that was an amazing system they came up with all their tails
Mhm.
wrapped around, and then they would grab one, and then Jacques realizing that it was him, and him looking horrified or mortified, and then Gus is just shaking his hand, congratulating him super excitingly. Gus is great.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Love Octavius.
at one point when the chickens are trying to get all the food from Gus, he says, "Raker Reezy, cluck cluck." And we used to say that to my niece all the time, and she would die laughing. We would say, "Raker Reezy, cluck cluck." Oh man, I love Gus. Another point was when Gus was hiding in the cups and Lucifer was looking for him, and Lucifer finds him, but is just expecting that he's not going to find him, so he doesn't even bother looking.
Yeah. And he does like a double take. He's like, wait a minute.
I also found it funny when he thinks he's got him the one time before he becomes the horse, right? He like puts the cup over, like, got you, and then he becomes the horse, and he just looks back like, no, I got you. I was like, yeah, take that.
Jacques loading the beads on Gus's tail was awesome.
That was my
Yeah.
favorite. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have on the mice. So I thought this was a super underrated funny moment when Anastasia, when they got the letter saying any eligible maidens come to the ball, Anastasia was like, "I'm so eligible."
She meant it. She said that with her chest.
Oh,
Also, maybe this would have been an animation, but you bringing that up made me think of the shoe thing. Bro, either Cinderella has the tiniest feet of all time, or those girls got some real,
Well-
big Sasquatch feet. I was like,
Nice.
where's the middle ground in this? Because that's going on their pinky. Do you know how big your foot has to be in order for another shoe to fit on your toe?
Well,
Disney
around
magic.
that time,
Wow, it's small.
and it's still somewhat similar in current day, it is looked at for a lady to have small feet to be very attractive. So that leads back into them being ugly, Cinderella being gorgeous.
right.
Yeah. Cinderella's shoe size was 4.5.
That's pretty
my
small.
That's
Yep.
small.
The average for women on is generally 8.5
Wow.
on average.
Yeah, like I said, real tiny feet, man.
Yep. And
I
there's so many different iterations of this story, and it wasn't always a glass slipper.
Was
It
it a
was
diamond slipper?
gold or fur usually.
Oh man, a
and
diamond
in the
slipper.
original story, the stepsisters were like cutting off pieces of their feet so that they'd fit in there.
Yep.
Ugh,
Okay.
horrible.
Yeah. Desperation.
You know, I will say, I think it gets solved better. I'm actually happy that when they tripped him, it broke. Because that, like, gotcha moment was so euphoric for me. Just actually, would it help if I had the other one in my pocket? I was like,
Yeah, man.
that, I just love that. To me,
Cinderella
that scene is so
she's
goated.
so
It's
great.
so just like, throw him.
And then even though she was obviously the owner of the slippers because she had the other one, they still had to try it on.
Right.
Just as like a
Mhm.
yeah.
I do love the look on the evil stepmom's face. Like it did like that zoom in and then like and they did like all the colors around it showing just how shocked and how like she's just defeated. She knows it's over.
It's like the one movie like that. The gotcha, you know.
Yep. Good game. Well
Plus, I
played.
think it's just such a better thing to confirm it. You know, it's like maybe there's someone in there who could have came close. Obviously not, but it's like, yeah, but I also have the other pair.
Right.
So that's like 100% proof right there.
So I do have a question for all three of you. Now, why did the evil stepmom not try her foot herself?
Well, because she wasn't an eligible maiden. The king wouldn't have wanted her to marry
Fair
the prince.
Mm-hmm.
See, now this brings me to another question that I've been thinking about. What happens to the stepmother and the stepsisters after the wedding and everything?
Well, I will finish watching Cinderella 2 and 3, and I'll let you know if they address that. But in the original story, I'm pretty sure Cinderella, I can't remember, she either forgives them or puts them in a dungeon to starve to death.
Well, if the theme
Love
that you
both.
said earlier was about forgiveness, I'm gonna think the forgiving part was it. Because you said, as you read, one of the themes was forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, through the whole movie, she didn't have a choice but to forgive unless she wanted to live a life of resentment for, what was the only family she had, but now given a new hope, a fresh start, she could have taken it any way she wanted to. Now she's royalty and she has the power. Got the power to do whatever she wanted to them.
True, but the thing is, I definitely think is the forgiveness due to the fact that she never once truthfully harbors a grudge towards them. Throughout the whole movie, there's never a scene of, I can't stand this, I can't stand them, all this stuff. It's just, she goes about it, doesn't like it, deals with it, and still tries to be nice and friendly with them throughout the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
So
I love that. And that's
harbored a grudge.
That's definitely what I'm leaning toward actually happened. But it's good to think about, like the dark side of it, like the possibility of her just being like,
locked them in a dungeon to starve away as the rats that she trained and took care of all those years eat away at them from their feet.
Wow. Okay.
It's like a buffet.
He said
Google
get dark,
says-
so I got dark.
Google
You ever
says it
seen that
depends.
old torture device where they put a bucket over your stomach
Right.
with rats on the inside?
Yeah, that's messed up. I always hated that scene from Fast and the Furious, or Too Fast, Too Furious. Oh, it made me so
yes.
uncomfortable.
The blowtorch,
Yeah.
yes.
But Google says their fates are dependent upon which version you are being told. Sometimes they are forgiven for their cruelty. Other times they are demoted to servants in the prince's castle. Or sometimes the Baron Hardup at last puts his foot down and stands up to them. I don't know who the Baron Hardup is, but
Isn't that that's the Duke.
yeah, the Grand Duke.
Was he the guy who was carrying the shoe?
Yes.
No, it was
Oh,
the
yeah,
Baron,
okay,
maybe
yeah.
the guy carrying the
Maybe.
shoe.
But back to humor, I got two more things. The king calls the Grand Duke a pompous windbag at some point. Thought that was funny. And then we got a goofy laugh.
Yes, we did.
How fun is that? Instead of the Windhelm scream. Fun fact about me, I hate the Windhelm scream. But I'm all about the goofy scream.
Wait, scream or laugh?
It was a scream. I don't know why I said laugh.
Oh, okay. What? Wait, where was the scream at? I don't.
When the king and the Grand Duke were on the chandelier, and the king gets excited, he swings his sword and cuts the chandelier off the ceiling, and they fall through the bed. One of them screams like Goofy.
Okay.
Now,
okay.
was that like Goofy back then?
I would guess. I don't know. I didn't watch Goofy.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, maybe he didn't have that scream at that point.
yeah.
I don't know.
I was thinking about that. During the 2 times of me rewinding it, it's like, huh? I wonder if it actually meant something back then, or if it was just
The Goofy
a sound.
Holler aired in 1941 for the first time, so yes.
Cool.
The one that kind of just came to mind, quick thing, which this should have been an animation. Sorry about this. Oh, but it just reminded me with the Duke guy. I really like the scene with him using like the monocle thing, like going like up the one way, down and up the other way. I'm like, that was skillful and very enjoyable to watch. Just that little animation scene. Just want to point that out.
I don't have anything else for humor, so if you guys want to move on to world building.
Yeah.
I really liked their house's exterior, and the interior was beautiful. And I love the fact that Cinderella had a tower. It was cool. Towers are sweet.
Do you mean the one that she was locked up in?
Well, I mean,
for years?
Under the right circumstances, it would be a cool tower.
I do appreciate the world building because it's kind of like the upper level really showed that it's like, almost dungeon-esque, a cage she's trapped in.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she goes down, they have like a little farm area feeding the animals. It really looked like a little like kitchen farm area kind of thing. I really appreciate the aesthetic to it. Didn't look out of place. And then the hall for the whole place is literally like a mansion almost.
Right. Super classy looking.
So the thing I loved about this too, and it took me a minute to think about, was the scene when she runs out crying. For the fountain. It's where she ran. I think they had it run out there crying because that's where they first showed that she hung out with her father a lot.
Right. Was
by that fountain. So when they first ran out there, I'm like, oh, so you're just gonna run out the building crying? Okay, that's a thing. And then I'm like, wait, that was where her and her father were. And then it like clicked, and I'm like, I like that a lot more now.
And
again, it looks like it matches the interior of their house mansion thing, whatever it was. That was it.
Oh. But yeah, the garden was a beautiful design with the fountain and the willow that she was crying under. It was amazing.
Oh, speaking of that scene, I'm not gonna lie, Cinderella got bunnies, bro. I ain't know she can run that fast. You see how fast she ran through that house to get to that garden? It's impressive, bro. She should be in the Olympics.
I loved that they let you go into the walls every now and again and see the mouse's world and all their secret doors. That was great. Just building that big of a world inside of a single house. Impressive stuff.
You see how they get around. Kind of similar, but different.
And, the castle was incredible, very grand and prestigious. And the bed that the king had was very impressive.
Woo!
That thing was
Yes,
giant.
sir.
That bed got no memory foam to it. That thing is sending you to the moon.
I will definitely say the words the king had are definitely right in this case.
What?
The chandelier, when they were on the chandelier and they crashed it down into the bed, destroyed that thing. That's what I was saying. The bed the king had. I'm like, that good choice of words there, because you don't have that bed no more.
Yeah.
Got a new one now.
So other than Cinderella's house and the castle, they really don't show that much. I mean, a little bit of the forest during the ride and the chase scene, and then just a very small snippet of the village. But nothing really else.
I actually like how they show it from the top of her room.
The tower, yeah.
How they show it like looking out to where you can see everything, and like how kind of far away it is, which is a kind of an interesting contrast to where it's like this super pristine castle all the way out there away from where she is, as having to live in rags and basically not be anywhere up in a high pristine level as being forced to do dishes and clean the whole place, and again living in rags. Kind of an interesting way of perspective looking at it.
That's all I have for world building. If you guys are cool to move to legacy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the most notes that I've had for legacy so far. So this is probably the most famous and well-known Disney movie out there. I don't think there's much argument there.
No.
I don't know.
Lion King, maybe, for our generation, but Cinderella is Cinderella. Magic Kingdom in Disney World is centered around Cinderella's castle, and the prince has a carousel behind it. And the Cinderella meet and greet, when I was there, the line was over an hour long, just to meet Cinderella. Then you have Drizella and Anastasia as meet and greet characters, and they're hilarious. I don't know if you guys have ever seen videos of them two meeting guests, but they're funny. Yeah. And then Tokyo Disneyland also has Cinderella's castle, and at Disneyland Tokyo and Disney World Magic Kingdom, there's the Cinderella Royal Table restaurant where you can go and eat breakfast with the princesses. Man, that is not cheap.
No, but it's a great experience, I'll tell you that.
I can't wait to do that one day.
Oh, yeah, sir. It's so... Oh, yeah.
And then Cinderella and Prince Charming are main features of all the parades and all the parks. And I believe every park has a Bippity Boppity Boutique, which, if you guys don't know what that is, Bippity Boppity Boutique is a salon/boutique where they turn kids into princes or princesses with full-on makeup and costumes. And that is also not cheap.
Okay.
Nope.
It's not as expensive as I would have thought, but it's still not cheap. I believe it was like $300, $400.
Yeah.
As a kid, I was dumbfounded when I found out that Cinderella was not the first ever Disney movie. The prestige of it just had me thinking it was the movie that made Disney. I just, for whatever reason as a kid, I just always associated Cinderella as the first movie.
Yeah.
So when I found out it was Pinocchio, or not Pinocchio, when I found out it was Snow White, I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
I agree. I did think that Cinderella was the first Disney movie. That was my same thought process too.
Mm-hmm. Which is why when we were first starting this, I actually thought we were going to be watching Cinderella first. So that was the first thing I had pulled up from it. And they were like, no, it's Snow White. I'm like, huh? Okay.
Well, Cinderella is actually one of the films that really saved Disney, because at the time they were, it was the end of World War II, and they were over $4 million in debt. So Cinderella was like a big risk. If the movie lost, money, if it was a flop,
Man.
They might have had to shut down all of Disney animation.
Yeah. And I know we've said it before, but man, Walt Disney was a genius, because during all this time with all this financial hardship, he goes and decides, you know what, I'm going to make an amusement park even though I don't have any money. And guess what? It was brilliant.
All right.
A visionary, a true visionary.
Dino, real quick, on your thing with the Cinderella, you knew, while I've seen that one, that wasn't the one I was thinking of. I found the one I was thinking. This is the one that I thought you were talking about at first. This is like the very more modern day one.
Oh, I have not seen that one.
This is the one I thought you were talking about.
So many different Cinderellas.
Oh, that's the one that just came out. That was the live action remake.
That can't be that new.
Yeah, it's like 2014-ish.
Dude, that's like 10 years away. 9, literally.
Well, I mean,
Emma Watson was supposed to be Cinderella in that one.
Dang, she's taking over all the Disney princesses, huh?
Yeah, so when he said Disney, it just clicked in my head what you said. Sorry.
Cinderella.
But yeah, no, when he said,
2015.
live action, this was the one that came up, because I'm like, wait, yeah, there's a more modern day Cinderella one that I remember hearing about.
2015 is when that came out.
Yeah.
8 years ago.
But there are some things in this movie that hasn't aged well. I mean, it's literally nitpicking, but the king smoked. I mean, I think every movie has had a smoking character at this point. And like we mentioned, the king is toxic. And how everyone reacted to how the stepsisters looked, because people try not to judge people on their looks anymore.
But they also had crap personalities.
Yeah, well, yes.
That's what truly made them ugly.
Reacting to their personalities. Like when they showed up to the prince, the prince was like, ugh.
Was the prince? I thought the prince didn't even really react. I thought that was only the king, and I don't remember the prince reacting at all, really. The whole time I just remember him being stone-faced.
Maybe he just got wide-eyed at them.
I don't even remember. I just remember him, bowing to everybody, just, doing his due diligence. The only face I remember was when he looked up at his dad like, is this over yet? Not really like at them.
He would have looked up and his eyes would have got bigger, so maybe that's what he was doing.
That's what I thought it was. I thought it was still like his dad, like, is this over yet? Because like he clearly didn't want to be there, but he was being respectful. Yeah. The ones that made the face were definitely the king and the duke. Yeah. They made faces.
Cinderella also has a live-action remake, and I really liked it. And Rotten Tomatoes likes it too. It has an 83%. And like I said, this movie has 2 sequels. With the third one involves time travel, I believe. So...
Wait, which live action are we talking about?
The one that you were talking about. The official Disney live action one.
Okay.
That's all I have for Legacy.
I don't really got anything.
Nope.
So for overall enjoyment, I don't remember being too fond of this movie when I was a kid. When my niece watched it, I liked it because she liked it. And so when I rewatched it now, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it because I hate all of these old movies. I hate Fantasia, I hate Bambi, and I hate Snow White. But I was not expecting to like this one so much. But I absolutely loved this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know
thoroughly enjoyed.
Like, I watched it a few months ago, like I said, when I was trying to figure out my favorite Disney character, and I was rewatching all the movies, and I liked it. And then when I rewatched it again today, I liked it even more. So I was like, this is crazy.
Maybe watch it a third time, you'd be like, it's perfect! Maybe. The most perfect movie of all time!
Maybe. How about you guys?
I'm in the same boat as you, Joey. Outside of the hate and everything. But because a lot of the movies outside of Bambi, I didn't like. We don't talk about Bambi, all right? We don't talk about Bambi. But
no, we don't talk about Bruno.
I was like, well, that too. But like, when I was younger and growing older, I was like, man, Cinderella's like meh. And I'm like, Cinderella's meh. It's overrated. It's not even that great. And then I'm like, I always had like a distaste for her. I never hated her, just a distaste. And I watch it today. I'm like, dang, this movie kind of fire though.
Right.
I'm like, it's still overrated, but it's mad fire. And I'm like, I like this movie more than I originally thought. And I got a newfound respect for Cinderella.
You think Cinderella's overrated?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's one of the most popular Disney movies. That's the definition of overrated.
I wouldn't say it's overrated.
Overrated definition is something that's highly acclaimed and that people are always talking about. And
it falls short of the hype, but this movie doesn't miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if
definition of overrated is being highly praised when it doesn't deserve it. This movie deserves it.
I mean...
Yeah, kind of like you. Kind of like you. When I was younger and growing older, I didn't appreciate it for what it was. But now, I actually seeing and knowing, like what this movie did and what it actually stands for, and it just, wow. It makes it even better.
So I'm the only outlier here.
You don't like this movie?
I liked it. No, I liked it as a kid. I really liked it as a kid. And to this day, I still really liked it. Like, I liked it back then. I still like it to this day.
I mean, I do too. I just like it more now because I appreciate it better.
Oh, I thought you were saying you weren't as big a fan of it. Like, because as a kid, I remember it was like, it was up there with a lot of them for me. Mostly the really classic ones were like Aladdin, Hercules, Lion King, Cinderella. Those ones were all in like this category of like these are my the best Disney movies. I'm gonna watch
Right.
these all the time.
The staples, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same feelings, when I was young and growing older.
So I googled overrated to make sure that my definition was correct and my definition was wrong. Alongside your guys' definition being wrong as well, the definition of overrated is just something that's rated too highly. That's about it.
Well, that's what we said. We said something that is,
You said that's not deserving of its rating.
well, that would be it being rated too high. If it's not deserving of its rating, it's rated too high.
I wouldn't say it's not deserving of its rating, but I would not say that it isn't rated too high. It's definitely rated too high, but I'm not saying that it's
I
not
feel like
deserving.
you're saying the same thing, just different ways.
Yeah.
No. Basically, what I'm saying is, it's a good movie, and it's good for what it is. But people are praising it as if it was the greatest thing to ever grace this world. That's what I'm getting at. Like, it's kind of like apologies, Mike. Apologies in advance. It's kind of like Frozen. Everyone praised Frozen like it's the pinnacle of animation and movie, but it's overrated. It's a good movie, but it's not.
Why are you saying sorry to me?
Damn,
Because
Mike hates that
I
movie.
hate that
Yeah.
dang movie.
No, that's the
I think
reason
it
why
go
I'm
with the-
apologizing. That's the
I
reason
think
I'm
it becomes
apologizing.
the trash.
That's the reason I'm apologizing because I know you don't like hearing about Frozen.
Yeah, I'm also
I
on,
have to. I can't
also-
avoid it. I
I'm in
just
the
hate it,
minority
so
where-
I appreciate it.
I think Frozen is actually underrated.
Huh?
Yep.
Hit.
Because I think
I
there's
remember
too
this.
many.
This was his hot take.
I think there's too
or
many
something.
people that think that Frozen is not as good as it is when it actually is as good as it is.
Huh?
You know,
Okay,
the reason people think that is because it was high. It was rated too high and praised too much for too dang long, and forced into people's ears to never stop hearing about it.
So
Oh,
this is
just let it go.
So I have confirmed this is the trash opinion section. So Kevin, I need you to throw yours out there too.
Wait, what was my trash opinion?
I mean, like,
I think
No,
what
you
he
have
meant to
one.
say was Joey's trash opinion.
oh
segment.
no. I was getting at mine as well because like my theory on how I believe that Cinderella is overrated. So I would say we were both giving quite trash opinions. So
Hey, art
I
is
need-
subjective, sir.
I need Mike and Kevin to give theirs, so I don't feel like this is unbalanced.
You're rolling solo on this one.
No.
His hot take is that he thinks Aristocats is overrated.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Wait, overrated or underrated?
Over.
Over.
Oh,
You don't
I-
remember us having that big discussion where we were like, Aristocats isn't even that highly rated.
Listen, Aristocats came up a lot in different conversations. I'm not sure where anybody stands on that movie at this point.
Well, I've never seen it, so I don't have.
Well,
an
my
opinion.
Dino, I know where he
I
stands.
can't wait until we get to that movie because, again, I never knew anything about that movie until a friend was like, "You ever heard of this movie?" I'm like, "No, what is that?"
Okay, let's get to
wait, my
rankings.
hot take came in the
Oh.
last rating, I guess, because of how much I disliked the last movie. Does that count?
I don't know. I think a lot of people don't really rate Ichabod and Mr. Toad that highly. But you did
Yeah.
rate it really low.
I dragged that movie aggressively.
That movie dragged my patience, is what it did.
So let's get to our rankings. The Quandric storyline, 1 out of 10.
Storyline? Oh man, I'm gonna give this storyline an 8.
Characters.
I'm just gonna say one thing in advance. Kevin and Joey are gonna drag me after this. So characters, that's also an 8.
Animation.
Animation, that's a 9.
Music.
Music, I'm gonna give it a 7.
Emotion.
Emotion, that's also a 7.
Message.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, if you didn't tell me the message of the movie, I would have gave it a much lower rating because I didn't really pick the message of the movie from watching it. So with the knowledge that you have given me for the message of the movie, it goes from what it was going to originally be a 3. It's going to go to a 6.
Wow.
What was that?
I'm sorry, I was staring at his Bambi score for message at a 6, and he said 3. Just caught me off guard. I'm like, it can't be lower than a 6, right? From Bambi?
No, he gave
right?
Bambi
3.
an 8 for message.
Yes, sir. Remember, we had the whole discussion on that.
Yeah, Mike, you gave it an 8 too, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Wait, what? No, I didn't.
Hey,
Sure.
go back
Oh, that's
and go back
Dumbo.
and
That's
listen.
Dumbo.
It
I'm
says
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
2.
sorry. I'm looking at Dumbo. Yeah, the Quandrick, you gave it a 6, and me, Kevin, were at 3, and Mike was at 2, so you were the outlier there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think I know the reason why. I know exactly why I gave it that.
I mean, it was a pretty good made message.
All right, so humor.
Humor, I didn't like enjoy the humor nearly as much as you three. I give the humor a 6 as well. It was good, but it wasn't like woo for me.
World building.
World building, that's a hard one because like there was like only like what 3 locations, but those
Pretty
are
much
pretty
just
good.
2.
It's the house that she was in, the garden, and
Right.
then the palace.
Right.
So it was 3 locations. Like that garden is like my favorite location. So like I want to like bump it for that, but like I don't think that's enough for like necessarily world building. I'm gonna give world building a 5.
Legacy.
A legacy. I mean, we've seen what Cinderella has done to this world. That's a powerful 10, no doubt.
And general enjoyment.
Man, I did enjoy this movie a lot. I'm gonna give this movie an 8 for my enjoyment. That's probably my highest rated movie for sure.
No, yeah, 74.
No.
What?
Just 1 higher than Dumbo and 11 lower than Pinocchio.
You loved Pinocchio, bro.
Oh,
Wow.
can we not say this again?
You love Pinocchio,
I
bro.
need to fix this, bro. We're gonna crush Pinocchio. What's the
Yeah.
next movie?
You,
I need to know real quick.
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland.
We're crushing it there. Alice
This-
is destroy Pinocchio.
So you had a
You-
74,
wait.
sir.
Through all this beginning, like we're still trying to hone into these ratings, you know?
Well, the Quandrick gave 8s, 9s, and 10s across the board for Pinocchio.
That's
Bro,
what I'm
it
saying.
was
Like
great.
it's good for what it was. It was good for what it was, and rating it for what it was. But like now, once you start comparing it to
True.
the
true.
future movies, you know, like think about this. Like how are we gonna rate Pinocchio compared to like Lilo and Stitch?
Lilo and Stitch is 1,000 times better than Pinocchio. That's how I'm going.
That's what I'm saying. But if we gave Pinocchio an 82, Lilo and Stitch is going to be 137.
I
Like,
didn't give Pinocchio an 82. I gave him a
No, he's
73.
just giving an example. It's just-
I'm just,
Yeah, he's just using an example.
Well, what I'm
And-
saying is that I am taking in account of all those other movies when I do my rankings.
See, I'm just rating it how it is. I'm watching the movie for what it is.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
what Kevin's
watching
getting
it as comparison from the previous or even, to the future. Because if that was the case, everything would be much lower.
that's
Let's be
exactly
real.
what Kevin's getting at.
So
yeah.
what
It's
I-
not like comparing, okay, I gave Pinocchio an 82, but I give Cinderella a 72. It's like, I don't know.
The way that I look at it is that
I
when
get
I
you.
say world building, I say Zootopia is probably the gold standard, so that's a 10. So if something is on par, do I give it a 9, or is it a lot worse? Do I give it a 4? That's how I look at it.
Okay. I look at it kind of like how Kevin and Mike, like for what I am viewing, the experience that I'm getting, like that is the only thing that's mattering to me at this
That
point.
makes
at this
sense.
Yeah. Like gut check style, Joey.
Yeah, I mean,
Gut check.
What's mine? Oh, that's on. Who's
Yeah.
it on? That's on Kevin or is it on Mike?
It's on Kevin.
Okie dokie. So, storyline and plot. Going with a 7. Characters. We're going with 7. Visuals, animation, 8.
Oops.
Soundtrack, music, 9. Emotional impact. 7. Message and theme. 6. Humor. 6. World building. There wasn't much of a world to it, I'll go with a 5. Legacy is a 10. Overall enjoyment, I'm gonna give it a good 8.
And that gives you a score of 73.
Is that his highest?
No.
No, Pinocchio,
Pinocchio.
is Kevin's highest.
Pinocchio. Mike.
All right, so what is the storyline and plot, right?
Storyline.
Storyline, I will do an 8. Okay, this one is characters. I'm gonna give that an 8.
Animation.
9.
Music.
I'm gonna give that an 8.
Emotion.
I'm going to give it an 8.
Message.
I'm gonna give that an 8 as well.
Humor.
I'll give that a 7.
Oops, wrong button. World building.
I'm gonna give that a 6. 6, yeah.
Legacy.
10.
That is the first time a movie has gotten 4 10s from us in one category.
That's awesome.
And general enjoyment.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
For a final score of 80.
Nice. Breaking the
That
70.
is your second favorite movie because Pinocchio is an 81.
Pinocchio is the king!
The king, baby.
So for storyline for me, I'm going to say 10. Characters, 8. Animation, 9. Music, 7. Emotion, 6. Message, 7. Humor, 8. World building, 7. Legacy, 10. And enjoyment, 9. For a final score of 81. And that is my highest rated movie. By a lot.
What was the second highest?
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio! Of course there
Hey,
was.
bro, everybody loves our little wooden kid and his grandfather, his father, and his conscience. We just love him there, man. We just love him.
Because he ain't got no strings.
I went 3 straight movies of being the lowest, and I finally became the highest on one of the movies.
Oh my gosh, you...
I'm
Wait.
just saying this. Joey's biased because she's also a blonde.
Oh, he has a natural biasness.
But the next episode, it's going back down. I hate Alice in Wonderland.
So I love that.
Spoiler.
Theory segment, Bell's Fans Fiction segment. So, I read this today that the idea is that the evil stepmother actually killed Cinderella's mom so she could marry Cinderella's father for his riches. And then the stepmom ended up killing him too so that it would just be hers.
I only had the second half of that theory in my head.
Yeah, I had
Yeah,
that
I
theory
agree.
as well because it's a game that I played called Child of Light. The game is a different take on a different Disney princess being Aurora, but it follows the trend of her mother passing away and then her father marrying this lady to give her a better life. This lady having 2 daughters, both very nasty, but one plays as if they're good with each other. And her father ends up kicking the bucket due to the evil stepmother poisoning him. So my theory fell in the same line of that because the game I played, which mirrors the story of, Aurora mixed with Cinderella.
So I'm going to say this is canon.
I agree.
I'm in the same boat.
What are your thoughts, Kevin?
Yeah.
Look at that. We got a second theory canonized.
Also, I want to pull in the theory from earlier with the fairy godmother being the blue fairy, but older.
Hard no on that for me.
How dare
I'll
you?
say
They
that they
both
might-
appear from stars.
I'll say that they might be in the same universe, like they both work for the same corporation, but they're not the same person.
But they both wear blue. They're both magic, and
the
they both
uniform for the
appear from
corporation.
stars and magic.
Fairy Corp.
Fairy.
And their goal is to make a wish or dream come true.
Well, that's what a
Which
godmother
basically
is.
is the same.
Oh, so they live in fairy world with the rest of the fairies.
Yeah, with Cosmo and Wanda.
I like this theory.
Yeah, but they both wear blue. They both wear blue. And it's an older version of her. It's her older. She became the fairy godmother by first having to be the blue fairy.
No, thank you, sir.
Kevin?
He says, "I reject your reality and substitute my own."
Kevin, what do you think?
I plead the fifth. I don't know.
Undecided.
I don't think they're the same person.
I agree.
There's a whole hierarchy of fairies.
Hierarchy of
There's the
fairies.
fairy council.
I like the fairy council.
Yeah, I'll
So
agree
you're in
to
the same
fairy
boat as
council.
them, Dino?
What's up?
You're in the same boat as them.
I like the fairy council. I'm not gonna lie.
I've been betrayed, and I will never forget this wrongdoing on my soul.
I've been duped. Don't worry, Mike. I can fix it.
No, I've been wrong done, and I will never forget
No, you'll forget. Trust
the
me.
wrongdoings on my soul.
Wow. Moving on to Riley's emotions. What is everyone's favorite and least favorite moment of the movie? D. Quan.
Favorite moment of the movie is
Going
Cinderella.
German on us.
Is Cinderella being super duper happy and ecstatic that her woodland creatures built this dress for her and that she got to wear it. That was a beautiful moment. It was a beautiful moment. Now, my most hated part of the movie, obviously, is the parallel of that when they started tearing the dress apart.
Right. Kevin.
I guess we're gonna go with my favorite being. Oh, there's good scenes. There's a lot of good scenes. Yeah, I'm gonna say the transformation scene.
Beautiful.
Like, you know. And then least favorite would be the scene of them ripping her up her dress.
Let's go find them, bro. We're gonna take care of them.
How about you, Mike?
Favorite scene will be the gotcha at the end when she's like, you know,
Right.
oh, would it help if I had the other half? Like that again, that's like, that's right, get your face. No, it's, you know, very euphoric. It's so enjoyable. Least favorite though. I mean, I'm kind of stuck between two because I'm in the same boat as them. That scene is super frustrating. But man, something with when that cat clawed that dog's face to act like it was in pain being attacked and that dog got punished for it really gets under my skin.
Right.
I'm gonna go with that one just to be different. Just to be different. I'm in the same boat as you guys. I'm gonna pick that one.
So for me, I'm gonna say the same as Kevin. The transformation scene is the best, specifically when she gets her dress. And my least favorite, I have two, so I don't know which one to go with. But one is the king and the duke bouncing on the bed. Why are they going all the way up to the 50-foot ceiling? Come on now, that's a bit much. And then
That's how good that bed was.
the key in Madame or Lady Tremaine's pocket really irks me. So, what is everyone's favorite and least favorite song?
I do not have a least favorite song. I only have a favorite song, and it's Bibbidi Boppity Boo.
Right. Kevin.
Yeah, I'm opting out of the least favorite. I am going with A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes. Although it was very, I mean, there's a lot of good ones to choose from in this show.
Kevin. No, Mike. Kevin just went.
Okay, so I'm gonna state this. Does not mean that these songs are bad, right? That's not saying, oh man, this is horrible. But I am gonna pick a least favorite out of just, for the general movie. The least enjoyable to me was This Is Love, because it isn't really a lot to it. It's not bad. It's not. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not bad. If I have to pick a least favorite, it's So This Is Love would be the least favorite out of all these selected. It's like giving someone a bunch of M&Ms and they're like, now you gotta choose which one's your least favorite M&M. You like all the M&Ms, they're all great, but you gotta pick one. And so that's what I did to myself just now.
Bad analogy. All M&Ms taste the same.
No.
That's where you're wrong.
No, I'm right.
No, if you can't taste you can't taste the different flavors in an M&M. I feel bad for you. Okay, I'm sorry.
See, you got me there, Mike. You definitely snatched my ankles because I thought you were referring to like flavoring the packets of M&M, like milk chocolate, peanut.
Well, obviously those taste different.
That's what I thought he was getting at first, but then he said no.
Okay.
They're all good. All those M&Ms are good. Just picked one. So that's the one I'm picking for least favorite. Right. But favorite is Cinderella.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, my least favorite, I'm going to go with the first half of Sweet Nightingale when the stepsisters are singing it. Because obviously it's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And...
yeah. Oh, I guess that would count, huh? I didn't even think of that counting.
My favorite one on the official Cinderella soundtrack technically isn't going to count, but I'm going to say it. In 2000, on the 50th anniversary of the movie, they released the 50th anniversary edition, and they added a song by the comedian Wayne Brady called Beautiful. And man, that is a freaking fantastic song.
That was my wedding song.
Was it?
I swear to you, that's the song that we danced to. So yes, that doesn't count, okay? But yes, that would have been mine as well. But no, you're not allowed to have that.
Right. So Bippity Boppity Boo is my favorite. But that song, look it up because it's amazing.
You should have picked the song Impossible.
That's completely different. That's a different movie.
No, it's Cinderella.
It's not even Disney.
I mean, is it though?
All right, everyone's favorite and least favorite character, Dequan.
Favorite character? Man, this is tough, actually. Bet you guys won't expect this. Favorite character? Cinderella. Least favorite character? Lucifer.
Kevin?
Favorite character, Cinderella. Least favorite is the stepmother.
Mike?
Favorite character, Cinderella. Least favorite is Lucifer.
I'm gonna do a clean sweep here and do Cinderella's my favorite.
What?
As you guys know, that I am ranking every single character from every movie so that I can know who my favorite characters are at the end of watching them all. And Cinderella is going right to number 1 on that list.
Yep.
Above Grumpy,
I'm gonna be honest.
above Dumbo, above Timothy Q. Mouse. She's going right up to the top.
I thought you were gonna put Gus.
Gus is number 2.
Octavius.
He is number 2 on the list of Cinderella characters.
Octavius.
But Cinderella is number 1, and then obviously Lady Tremaine, the evil stepmother, is the worst.
Yeah.
Lucifer, I did want to pick him, but there are no bad pets. There's bad owners.
Fair. You're still getting held accountable for that.
Yeah, but couldn't you say technically the same thing for her? Maybe she had a bad upbringing you don't know about that led her to believe it from another person.
You can't use that as an excuse once you become an adult. You have
Lucifer's an adult.
Well, he's an animal. The animals are different.
To be fair, we don't actually know Lucifer's age, so we can't say he's an adult.
I think he is. Let's see.
But Lucifer sucks. I'm not defending him.
No, I know. I'm just saying that analogy, in my opinion, doesn't really work.
because you can retrain an animal. They've shown it multiple times
Well, who's going to retrain
with
them?
unfortunate animals who have been, sadly abused. They get very defensive. They get taken to a shelter, and they rehabilitate them in order to be able to be adopted by a family, so they don't have to get put down.
So that just helps me because Lucifer's not actually bad. He just doesn't have the training to be good. No one's there to train him to be good.
Cinderella can.
Well,
She attempted to, but the thing about that is, if you have 3 people telling you to be bad and 1 person telling you to be good, that 1 person's words are not really going to get through to you.
Why won't this? Wait. Oh. Wait. No. Why won't that load that? The heck? It's weird.
For Genie's Inbox Extravaganza, we do not have a question, but I have a question for you guys. As you are aware, there has been hundreds and hundreds of retellings of the story of Cinderella, whether it's the classic fairy tale or just a reimagined version for like a Christmas story. Which is your favorite?
My favorite was the one I posted in general, which is
I have a feeling me and Kevin are going to have the same one, but we'll get to that.
I forgot the name of that one. It's like, I mean, they're all Cinderella at the end of the day, but there's actually a name card before said Cinderella, and I just don't remember the name of it.
The one that you sent?
Yeah.
It looks like Rogers and Hammerstein's Cinderella.
Yeah. How are you able to get such close, like, zoom in of that?
I'm on my computer. Are you not on your computer?
I am, but my other monitor shrinks everything down.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Kevin?
Joey, I'm curious. You go first.
Okay. A Cinderella Story by Disney with Hilary Duff.
Yeah. Hilary Duff. I didn't know if it... Yeah.
That movie is absolutely phenomenal. And if Mike and DeQuandrick, if you haven't seen it, I suggest you watch it tonight.
I'm most
Yep.
certainly seen it. It used to come on ABC Family.
Yeah. That movie
Yep.
is so good. Me and my wife watch that probably once every 2 months.
Mike, what about you?
I was trying to look up which one this is. Oh wait, it's the same. Is that the guy from Princess Bride?
What?
I looked up the one they were talking about because I'm like, I feel like I know this one too. Was this the one I might have been actually thinking about?
Chad
Because this
Michael
was definitely in a modern setting.
Well, yeah, yeah. The one that you sent was not modern. It was a fairy tale.
I think this was the one I was thinking of, actually.
Because that one is in a modern setting. She's a high school girl. With
Yep. This was the one. I was wrong before.
phenomenal movie.
Yeah, this is so. A Cinderella Story was the one I was thinking you were
Chad
talking
Michael
about.
Murray, Hilary Duff. Oh, fantastic.
So the question is, which one is my favorite?
Yeah.
Can't be the original, can it?
No, I mean it could. It's a version of Cinderella.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying like from that, like other versions, like outside of that. I'd probably say that like the original, the animated version, because it's the one I've known the most. It's the one I fully watched. I never truly watched these from start to finish. It was mostly I caught a Cinderella Story multiple times on TV, and I had never even seen the other two.
Well, there's Selena Gomez is in one called Another Cinderella Story.
I love Selena Gomez.
There's like
I've
16
never
Christmas
seen
movies
that.
called A Christmas Cinderella Story, or there's so many.
That's the Hallmark ones. We
Yeah.
don't talk about those.
So that is everything, I think. It was a
So
good
that,
episode.
yeah.
It is almost 3 hours, so I am going to split this up into 2 parts. Release them on the same day, but split them up into 2 parts.
Fair.
So the outro segment here, I will tell you to please email us at themagicofanimation@gmail.com and follow us on TikTok, The Magic of Animation, with underscores in between each word. DeQuandrick, where can the people find you on the social medias?
At Dinoman on Twitter.
And Kevin is radio silent.
Yep.
Mike, where can the people find us elsewhere in social media?
We have a YouTube, which is the Magic of Animation podcast. We have the Twitter, which is TMOA _ pod. We have an Instagram, which is the Magic of Animation pod. And then we also, well, there's the Spotify, and then there's the TikTok. That's also just the Magic of Animation.
Woo, woo, woo. And you can find me at People Call Me Joey on TikTok with underscores in between each word. And I am still in training for travel agency, so unfortunately you can't contact me about that yet. But soon. Yeah. I think that was a really amazing episode.
Indeed was.
I think we need to maybe figure something out, because when we get to like the Renaissance, if Cinderella went 3 hours, I don't know how we're going to do the Renaissance movies.
I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine. It's because if you look at how the podcast go, it depends. It fluctuates. Fluctuates. Sometimes they're long, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're long, sometimes they're not.
So join us next week for Alice in Wonderland, and have a safe and happy 4th of July, even though it has already passed by the time this comes out. And remember, they all lived happily ever animated. Mike didn't say anything.